There we go. What's going on, everybody?
There we
Oh,
go.
dang. My bad. My bad. Well, here's the thing. All right, we need to label these a little bit better because our intro, our video, our outro, and then our banner pretty much all have the same
Name?
Well, no, they all have the same picture. So I was just like, oh, there it is. And I clicked on it and I was like, what? That's not right. And then I was like, oh, there it is. And I was like, what? That's not right either. So, anyways, it ended up working out. Hey, they didn't see our face. That's what
This
we
is
were
true.
trying to.
This is true. We've been
That's
trying to
what we were
avoid
trying
that
to
one thing, but we did create a host of problems
do. I
trying
mean,
to
that's
solve
fair.
one.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, it wasn't really like, that crazy.
Well,
Technical
yeah,
difficulties. But anyways, we're still a little green. Anyways, how are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Just kind of, getting geared up for the holidays and stuff. Kind of, I don't know. Whenever November starts, I get kind of excited because like my birthday's coming up. Like for me, it's like birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So I get really excited for the month to kind of get going. Like I'm like sitting here and I'm like, man, it's only the 9th. Like I need another week to go by. So then it's like closer, and then I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm excited. So I always usually get excited around Thanksgiving week because my birthday's around there, and then just a couple days later, like when I was a kid growing up, it was kind of like I really enjoyed seeing my family compared to now. No, I'm just kidding. But when I was a kid, I loved seeing my family. So what was cool is on my birthday, I'd get to see my grandparents and usually some of my family, and then I'd see them again just a couple days later for Thanksgiving, which is always fun. And then I didn't have to wait much longer for Christmas Eve and Christmas.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, before we get started, do you have any holiday traditions that you usually do or that your family did?
No, no. I mean, I've always been the. I probably would say I'm probably the biggest Christmas guy in our house. So I was
Hmm.
always the one who get a jump start on like doing decorations stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, Me and my sister kind of had a agreement where I would do the outside of the house and she would focus on the inside of the house. Um, but actually, funny you mentioned that. Mine's is kind of reverse of yours a little bit. It's
Hmm.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, and my birthday.
Oh, that's
So
right. Yeah, because your birthday's in January.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's
People
cool.
never, people don't understand the true struggle of having a birthday immediately after Christmas. Like you have no idea what it's like.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
It's probably similar for people who have their because I had when I was a youth pastor, I had a couple youth kids whose birthday I believe was I think it was Christmas Eve was their birthday.
Uh,
So they would either get double the presents or they would get like not
Lucky.
that not that many presents at all. Like or they'd only get Christmas presents. So usually for me, like I did hear my parents did a good job getting me a present or something every once in a while. But usually for my birthday, since it was close to Thanksgiving, it was kind of like, well, we got to save money for the meal,
Yeah.
and Eric, and then there were a couple years where it was like, yeah, so like we were gonna get you this for your birthday, but we decided to wait for Christmas, and then I'm like, but I,
I don't want to wait.
I was like, oh, but why,
That's my
So
choice. You should have told them
yeah,
that should be your choice. You should choose whether or not you have to wait till Christmas.
yeah, no, that's fair. I never brought that up though, but that would have been smart. Anyways, well, we'll go ahead and get started with today's topics,
Welcome
I
to the show,
guess.
everyone.
Yes, welcome to the show.
We had a
I
little
didn't do
technical issue, but
I didn't do the intro today. I didn't do the intro. I
no,
usually
no, we
I,
were
I usually
laughing
start off with the
for
intro.
we were laughing because of the way we started the show. But
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, I usually start off saying like, "Hey, this is just visiting," but you guys kind of know the gist. This is our 7th episode, but just if in case you don't, and you're watching this for the first time, this is kind of a multi-topic show. It's a show where Jonathan and I basically just have a conversation. We're best friends, and we just kind of like to talk about all different types of things. So we're usually thinking about all different kinds of stuff. So we like to bring our opinions and things. So today we're going to be talking about the Eternals review of the new
Mhm.
Marvel movie that came out. So we're going to be talking about that, which is great. I'm very interested to hear what Jonathan thought because I'm wondering it's either going to be similar to mine or it's going to be drastically different. There's never like I feel like there's never this middle road with us where we're like, oh yeah, like it's
We're
always
either
like
on the same page or we're polar opposites.
Yeah, usually,
Yeah.
generally. So, I think that I'm interested to see what you thought of it. And you might be one of I'm thinking because you like to be outside the box. So I'm thinking maybe you'll be like, "Oh, I love this movie. It was so good," and then I'm gonna be like, "What? Okay."
Don't give
Um,
no spoilers, Eric. You just kind of
I'm not.
spoil the main
I'm
part of
not.
the show.
We haven't talked about it. We haven't talked about
We
it.
have not discussed it
So
yet. I did that
so I
intentionally
don't.
because you texted me your like thoughts, and I was like, I'm not gonna say anything.
Why do you do
I'm
that?
gonna
I
wait
want to.
until we get to the
We can
podcast, and then
talk
we
a
can.
little bit about it. I mean, come on.
I
But
just
it's
feel like
fine.
it's better when it's like we are authentically first time hearing each other's point of view, and then on the fly we're kind of like coming up with what we
That's
think about each other's reaction to the movie. I
that's
prefer it
fair.
that way.
I mean, I can understand that. That's fair. Um, well, anyways, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about kind of some like vaccine mandate stuff, which we've talked a little bit about lately in the last couple episodes. It's just something interesting that we're experiencing in our time. I think that's kind of why Jonathan and I like to talk about it.
Hmm.
And if you've watched some of the episodes, you guys probably have an idea where we stand on that stuff. But feel free to join the discussion. This is a live show, and Jonathan talks about it all the time. We're hoping that one of these days we'll be able to actually do like a Q&A session if we have enough people.
Hmm.
And also, before we get started, we just hit 10 subscribers on YouTube.
Woo!
So glad we finally. I didn't even know we had that many. Low key, Jonathan was like, "We have 10 now," and I was like, "We have 10?" Like I thought we had like maybe
Yeah,
four.
we were hovering around 6 for a while, and then like we had like a 3 subscriber bump to 9, and now we're at
Mm,
10. So
yeah, yeah,
we're in
yeah.
double digits now. We're in double digits. Now,
We're
now we're
getting it.
playing with real money. We're playing with house money now.
The
So
algorithm is blessing us. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. That's great. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. So today we're going to talk a little bit. When I was talking about vaccine mandates, we're going to be talking about kind of how they affect sports. So what's kind of been going on. So we have a couple different topics to talk about there, but we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing, Jonathan wanted to talk about this. Actually, he brought this up, and it's kind of about the whole Aaron Rodgers situation that's happened over the past like 5 days or so.
yeah, last week it's been kind of a flood of information. We
Yeah.
got the initial him coming out with okay, he has COVID, and then people are like, wait a
Hmm.
minute, why isn't he like getting tested again? Because he has to wait 10 days is what NFL said basically. And so
Wow.
the in this NFL procedure is basically like if you're vaccinated, you get basically a
Hmm.
quick turnaround. As soon as you get 2 negative tests, you get to basically start playing again. But the Packers came out saying, well, he's gonna be out 10 days at least because
Hmm.
of he's unvaccinated. And this kind of shocked everyone else. They're like, whoa, 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 he's unvaccinated. Because in an earlier press conference in the preseason, he
Hmm.
kind of he seemed to imply that he was vaccinated, which is what the
Hmm.
media is running with. And so they're like, now we have all
Yeah.
these sports analysts who are calling him out, saying he's a liar and he should be ashamed of himself, and they've lost respect for him. And
I gotta
he
say,
just,
it's so quick how people go to praising you for throwing a football to just like demoralizing you. Like it's I don't know. It's just
yeah,
crazy.
it's insane. I think the funniest part to me on this whole thing is like if you look up if you I was on YouTube just looking up a bunch of different takes on him.
Hmm.
So if you Google Aaron Rodgers, the first like 4 videos are probably gonna be first take, which is so weird to me because the show is not that popular. Like it
Yeah.
honestly isn't that popular. I'm pretty sure Undisputed is more popular than first take is,
Yeah, I think
but
honestly, I think you're right. I think some of the Fox shows, which
yeah,
surprises me, but the last like couple years, I feel like Fox Sports has gotten more popular. At
yeah,
least I see
yeah,
videos of it and stuff more often. So,
yeah. But it's you don't actually. My point is you don't actually see Aaron's response to everything
hmm,
unless you type in the specific show that he was on. So
yeah.
his response to everything isn't even highlighted on YouTube's algorithm. It's like buried way way underneath all this other stuff. So
Hmm.
basically, you hear everyone tear him apart first, and then you get around to his response. But by then, you've already formulated an opinion based on what you've heard from the analyst.
Hmm.
And it was just
Yeah.
like to me, it's like well, okay, well we know there's a narrative they're trying to push here. There's a clear
Yeah.
narrative they're trying to push, and it kind of seems to me like they're trying to push him into getting vaccinated. They're trying to like basically browbeat him until he's like, "I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
overlords. I'll get the jab."
He doesn't seem, from what I've seen him when he's been interviewed, he doesn't seem like that type of guy
No, yeah,
either.
yeah,
It sounds like
yeah,
he's going to be more pushed into his own opinion,
yeah.
like he's going to be more closed-minded because he's like he kind of predicted how people would react to it like
Yeah, he
early
knew.
on.
He knew.
He said something about like I can already feel the woke mob like gonna be coming after me soon. And then like literally 2 days later, I mean, and you can debate on whether that's the woke mob or not, but you literally had people being like, "How could he do this? Like
Yeah,
he's gonna
that's
kill his teammates." I mean, I don't think anybody actually said
that to
that, but
me
it
is the
wouldn't
craziest
surprise me.
thing is that like you have these analysts going, mob, what mob is coming after him? But you like if you Google his name, it's like all of these articles written about how horrible of a person he is for saying that he was immunized instead of vaccinated and that he's not vaccinated, that
Yeah.
he's been breaking the rules by not wearing his mask. It's like there's a literal mob coming after him. It's like if we were back in the 1800s, there would be outside his house with pitchforks and like knives ready to kill him.
I
Like
mean,
this is a literal mob.
that's kind of like modern day, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
Like
This
you're
is
you're starting
basically
you're starting to hear people do that again. They're like, "Oh, let's go to his house."
yeah.
It's
Let's
like,
go to
"Oh
his
my god."
house.
I mean, that happened to like Tucker Carlson like a year ago.
Yeah.
Remember that? He
Yeah.
had like a mob outside of his house and people throwing stuff at it.
Yeah.
Um which is crazy, but I mean, okay, so break it down a little bit. You know more about it than I do. Jonathan's been following a little bit more, guys,
Yeah.
mainly because he's watching the NFL more, which we're going to be doing Eric's picks later. So, obviously, obviously that's why I'm not 100% on top of it. But I know a little bit about what's been going on. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to not hear it if you just listen to the news. But break it down for the people who may not like know much about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said before, when the news came out, obviously in the preseason, the question that was directly asked to Aaron was,
Hmm.
have you been
He
vaccinated?
got COVID, right? That was how it started,
No, no, no.
right?
It started in the preseason. It started in the preseason because in the
Oh.
preseason they asked him, "Have you been vaccinated? And what's your
Mm.
stance on vaccination?" And he goes, his exact response was, "Yeah, I've been immunized."
Mhm.
And then he went on to talk about how some players are getting vaccinated, some players aren't getting vaccinated.
Mhm.
He's not judging the crowd.
Mhm.
And it's a very interesting time that we live in. And then there was really no specific follow up question to, okay, what does that mean,
Mhm.
basically? So it seemed that the most of the media kind of took the position that, oh, he's been vaccinated because he said, yeah, I've been immunized. Uh,
Mhm.
and then again, when the story broke that he has COVID and he has to sit out 10 days because he's not vaccinated,
Mhm.
now we have the media members losing their collective minds that he lied to them and told the untruth, not just to them, but to, I guess, the other players who were listening to him talk about his vaccination status, or to
Mhm.
the fans who were, listening to him talk about it. So now
Mhm.
there's two debates going on. One debate is, did he lie? Did he lie? Is this a lie that he told? Um, the resounding answer from the media seems to be yes. He lied. He absolutely. There's no two ways about it. He absolutely lied to us. And that's what they're really upset about. That's their
Mhm.
true. That's what they're truly upset about because he hurt their feelings. The second argument is, um, was his defense valid? Was it a valid
Mhm.
defense that he gave for why he answered the question that way, and what steps
Mhm.
he's going to protect himself and his teammates?
Mhm.
Um, so that's kind of where the argument is kind of boiling down, and the media is all on one side. They're all agreeing with each other. There's no real anyone. There's not really anyone who's really saying, "Oh, I agree with Aaron's stance. He has
Mhm.
the right to take that position." You've heard a couple people say, "Well, I respect that he made his own choice, but he still lied to
Mhm.
us." That kind of deal.
Mhm.
But for the most part, it's everyone kind of just taking turns bagging on him and how horrible of
Mhm.
a person he is, and how whatever XYZ, whatever
Mhm.
insult you can think of is what they're
Yeah.
calling him at this point.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's. I mean, I know of a few. I mean, I'm sure you and I both know of some news organizations who might support him, but the articles are few and far between. Like it's hard to find information.
Absolutely,
Like you're gonna find way more people dogging him than saying, "Hey,
absolutely,
he's fine."
absolutely. But
Um.
I mean, you gotta think about it specifically in the sports world. So this is not like
Mhm.
this isn't as much global as it is just within the sports world. I mean, like obviously you have
Yeah.
CNNs and those people talking about it, but
Mhm.
within the sports world is usually where you really kind of see how the athletes or how the
Mhm.
other figures in that world kind of see this issue. And
Mhm.
it's been a resounding answer from like just about everybody.
Mhm.
You'll be very it'd be very interesting to find someone who's not saying that, who's a sports analyst.
Mhm.
Um, I've only seen like maybe one or two people who weren't sports, but they're not tied to major companies though, which is
Yeah.
the main point. They're like more small organizations and stuff like that.
I mean, what I find interesting about all of this is what kind of it seems paradoxical when you're filling your stadium with thousands and
Of
thousands of people.
unvaccinated people, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there unless you're in a state where they're mandating that you hand out vaccine cards, it's like there's there's no way that you can, I don't know. It's just and plus the other thing is too, everybody's had the chance to get the vaccine. So if he
Yeah.
wants to get it, he can get it. If he doesn't want to get it, well, he's had the opportunity to. The third thing is that they've already said that people who get the vaccine can still get COVID and they can still spread it. So
Mhm.
the thing is like even though it's more minor, it is. I mean, you have to agree with that, right? Like it's if you get the vaccine, you're liable less to get it and liable less to spread it. But just because he got it doesn't mean that he didn't get that from somebody who was vaccinated. It doesn't mean that he
Yeah.
wouldn't have got it if he was vaccinated. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's less
Yeah.
likely of a chance, but it's and plus he's one of the healthiest people in the world right now. I mean, he plays for the NFL. They're going to make sure his health is top tier. He got over COVID pretty quick too, so I was told.
Yeah.
So I think they need to stop treating this as it's the boogeyman because they literally have like literally their fan base is out there and they don't and covering the entire stadium, packed out, sold out if you're Green Bay Packers. And there's probably people in the stands. I'm sure a lot of them aren't vaccinated,
Yeah.
so it's just
Yeah.
kind of crazy. But
Yes. Well,
anyways,
I got a question for you though. So here's my first question: would you
yeah.
say he lied? Did he lie to the media? Did he lie to his fans? Did he lie when he said, "Yeah, I've been immunized"? When they asked him, "Was he vaccinated?" Do you think he lied?
Oh, well, the question was he didn't lie. He avoided the question.
Yes. Okay.
Which
Yes.
are two different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two different things. They said, "Are you vaccinated?" And he said, "I've been immunized,"
Yeah.
which is totally different. And most people in the media were like, "What's that? Well, what does that mean?" And they're like, "Oh, it just means he got the vaccine." So
Yeah. They
they
they assumed they assumed on his
they
on his on
assumed.
his behalf, and that was their
Mhm.
fault. I mean,
Yeah.
if you ask
Hmm.
someone a question and I,
Hmm.
I have myself have been pretty expert at dodging questions. If someone asks me a direct question, I know how to get around you because I just like it just takes a little linguistic trickery to get around what you're asking me. And like
Sure.
so
Yeah.
I can answer the question, but I can really
Hmm.
not have answered the question. And that's
Hmm.
what he did. I mean, and this is not new for Aaron Rodgers. This is how he is in press conferences. He's not
Hmm.
really upfront about what's going on, and the only time he is on his terms. Like you don't get to
Hmm.
ask him a question where he has to answer it the way you want him to answer it. He's never going to do that.
Hmm.
So I think their assumption that that means he's been vaccinated
Hmm.
is their fault. They should have asked the follow up question. What do you mean by immunization? Because the CDC may have
Hmm.
their definition, the WHO may have their definition. We may have our own definition. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Because if he had said yes, I'm vaccinated, then that would have been a lie. I would have been like, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure he lied. He lied.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Definitely.
wrong. Um, I think he was being crafty with his wording. I think he was being
Yeah.
very, very crafty. Like when he said it, I started smiling to myself because I was like, that's something I would say. That's something I
12,
would have. That's
12,
something.
12D chess, as they
Yeah,
say. Like
that's something I would have said. Like I would have been like, well, I've gotten a range of treatments or something to the effect that like it sounds like
I've been
maybe
vaccinated, but yeah,
yeah.
but
Unless you ask me a
yeah.
follow up question, like if you ask me another follow up question directly to make me answer the question, then
Hmm.
I'm obviously gonna give you a straight the truth.
Yeah.
But I think he was just being very crafty with the way he responded, and I think it's kind of funny that people are getting so upset that he lied. Like
Yeah.
these
I
these,
don't.
these NFL players do the most horrible things ever, and we're getting upset that this guy
Yeah.
lied to
Well,
us. Like
what's crazy is, did you hear about the Raiders? The Raiders
yeah,
player?
yeah.
That's not getting any play at all. Like that's not getting any news right
Yeah,
now. It's all about Aaron
it got a
Rodgers.
segment on First Take, I think, and that was about it.
One segment. They just talked.
Yeah,
They were like, "Yeah, it's bad," and then they moved
yeah.
on.
So he hit the
Um,
scroll, and that was it. And then,
and he
all
killed
right. So
her.
back to Aaron
And
Rodgers. I can't believe that guy lied to us. How dare
yeah,
he?
there's for those people who don't know, I heard about this like yesterday. Um, there was a Raiders player who basically was drinking under the influence. He was driving, sorry, under the influence, and drinking under the influence.
I was like,
Just
oh
sounds,
yeah,
that just
well, he
sounds dumb.
was.
Sort of, yeah. Maybe I had a little bit today. Anyways, yeah, but yeah, he was driving under the influence, and he ended up hitting. Was it was it two people or just one person?
I think
But
it
he
was
ended
one
up
girl. I think it was just
but he
one
ended
girl.
up killing her. It was a
Yeah.
he hit her and then she died, and so the team like let him go, and that's a pretty big story, you know.
Hmm.
And I never even heard about it until like probably a week after it happened. Like I heard about it yesterday, and I was like, "What? That happened?" I was like, "That's crazy," you know.
Hmm.
But they want to talk about how Aaron Rodgers isn't vaccinated, who hasn't hurt anybody, hasn't spread it to anybody that we know of. And
Yeah.
his entire team is probably, I'm pretty sure they are all vaccinated.
Well,
So
not
why
all of them. I
you're
think
not all of
they're
them?
actually I think they have the lowest vaccination. One of the lowest. It's like I think it's bottom tier low vaccination percentage in the NFL. But
Hmm.
one thing he did mention was he said I've only been around vaccinated people, so
Hmm.
the only way I could have gotten it was from a vaccinated person. He
Yeah,
said so that's probably that's the most likely thing that happened was that a vaccinated person got
exactly.
it from someone
Yeah,
else and passed it on to him.
that was kind of my point with that was kind of my point with you know, with basically trying to control this, right? Because
Yeah.
they're surrounded by millions of, or not millions, thousands of fans.
Yeah.
I don't know how big their stadium is, but they're, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of fans, and you don't know if them are if they're vaccinated or not vaccinated.
You don't know
So
if they're
he's
sick or
surrounded.
not.
Yeah, he's surrounded by them. Plus, on top of that, he's surrounded by people who are supposedly all vaccinated, but even though you're vaccinated, you can still spread it. So it's like there's you know anybody could have got COVID on that team, and then you would have had a story about how, well, he was vaccinated, how did he get it, you know, maybe he was, you know what I mean, like they would have ran it for a week. And it's just like it's not. I have a feeling that whether he was vaccinated or not, this story probably would have still been around.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and
but
that
I
was
don't know.
actually one of the reasons why he said he initially he didn't want to tell people his vaccination status. And what you have to realize is when you tell someone I don't want to tell you, their assumption is you're not vaccinated. Because if you're vaccinated, you would just tell us. And
Hmm.
so he was like, his basically thought was like, if I tell you this is going to be the dominant storyline for
Hmm.
the entire preseason leading into the season,
Hmm.
all of my teammates are going to have to answer questions about it. All of my coaches are going to have to answer questions about it. They're not going to really get any questions about the game. It's all going to be
Hmm.
about, oh, Aaron Rodgers isn't vaccinated. Are you concerned? Are you on his side? Do you disagree with Aaron Rodgers? And you have to realize like some people have compared it like okay, so because there are a couple other quarterbacks in the league that aren't vaccinated, and they like said that up front. I'm not getting the vaccine.
Hmm.
But Aaron Rodgers is a whole different like this is like saying Tom Brady. Like this is like he's
Hmm.
in a whole different stratosphere from all these other quarterbacks. Like he's not
Yeah.
even in the same talking breath as like a Kirk
Hmm.
Cousins or even
Hmm.
or even a Carson Wentz. Like they're not
Hmm.
he just won the MVP last year and he was talking
Yeah.
about retiring this year. So
Hmm.
like if it comes out that the league NFL MVP decide not to get the vaccine, that's a huge story that's going to be covered
Yeah.
for months on end at
Hmm.
nauseum,
Hmm.
and it's never going to not be a story. So he's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, if I want my team to stay focused on the season, let me just try to subvert the question if I can. If I can't, I'll answer what's happening. But if I
Hmm.
can, then this is even better for the team, so we can stay focused on what we're here to do, which is play a football game.
Yeah. And they're having a good. They were having a good season too.
Oh,
Um.
a terrific season.
Yeah.
Got blown out the first game, but then they won 7 straight. Like this
Well,
is
I remember, to be honest, because we've been doing Eric's picks, I've been a little bit more aware of what's going on in NFL. Still not as much as you.
yeah.
I haven't really watched very many games, if any. But except for that one Lions game that they took off because the Lions were, uh, which I was so upset about. But it's fine. Uh, but I remember the first week that they got blown out by that one. Who did they play that week?
uh, uh, it was the Saints.
The
Saints.
Saints.
Saints
I remember when
throttled
that,
them.
and there were people like saying, "Well, man, I don't know if he's gonna have a good season. You know, he's playing like this, and maybe he's washed up or kind of
Yeah,
like
maybe it's time for him to retire. Yeah.
exactly, yeah." And then literally after that, it was like win, 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 and then he got COVID, and they lost recently, right?
Yeah, with their
Because
backup quarterback, who's supposed to be
yeah,
the future, who looked horrible in that game. He looked bad. I'm
usually
sorry.
happens. Well, you know, to be honest, that's what happens when you don't when you're not able to play your backup quarterback, you know. But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
understand taking a risk.
you just think he would have been better with having like a full weeks of practice with the first team
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
getting the game plan from the coaches. Hey, we're going to try to run the ball heavily, so that way you don't have to do too much. And
Yeah.
the defense they win against the Chiefs defense is not good. They are like really bad this year, and they
Yeah.
only scored 13 points. Like Patrick Mahomes, it wasn't like Patrick Mahomes was killing you guys. Like he scored 40, he scored 13
Yeah.
points. This should have been an easy win.
Yeah.
But this is just shows you how valuable he is to this team. Another
Yeah.
question I have for you: what did you think about his his response about Joe Rogan? Did you hear what he said about Joe
Um,
Rogan?
no, I did not actually. No, what did he
Yeah.
say?
So he was basically as he was as this was like 45 minutes. He went on it for a long time. It was kind of interesting to hear because um
What
it's
did Joe
interesting to
Rogan
me.
say about it?
Well, not Joe Rogan. This is what Aaron Rodgers said about Joe Rogan.
Hmm.
But before I get to that, it's interesting to me hearing like professional athletes talk because they're not really known for like deep thought and meaningful conversations. I mean,
Hmm.
just my perception of them. I could be wrong.
Hmm.
I've heard
Well,
a lot
I
of
mean,
guys talk like very like they like really know what they're talking about.
well, I mean, to be honest, I would say the general public perceives NFL and basketball players as not really having very high IQs, technically,
Yeah,
because it's like, oh, well, they're famous for playing this sport.
yeah,
They're not
yeah,
really famous for going to, getting a degree and doing some big,
yeah,
field of
yeah.
study.
And not that they're not, and not
So
even that they're not smart. It's just like
yeah,
when you're talking about a specific place to talk, like have a deep, meaningful conversation, like politics or like
yeah,
a COVID
you don't
vaccine.
you don't
You
think
don't,
about
yeah.
sports.
And also they just don't have to because
Yeah,
it's not that's not really their world anymore.
they
They're
shouldn't
so
have to.
focused in on the football. They have
Yeah.
advisors around them to handle their money, to handle their
Hmm.
house, to handle their their cars, to handle
Hmm.
their retirement, to handle everything for them. So they don't
Hmm.
really have to think too deeply about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You pay other people to do that for you. So it was interesting to hear a football player talk so like intelligently about this subject. Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
he was just like, "Well, I just don't want to take the vaccine because someone told me to." He was like,
Hmm.
"I have specific reasons. I'm allergic to it. That's one of the reasons I'm not taking
Hmm.
it." J&J, the only other one that I could have took was Johnson and Johnson, and that got pulled off the market because they were having some really bad issues with it.
Mm.
So he had specific reasons for why he wasn't taking the vaccine, which was interesting to
Yeah.
hear because you can tell he actually did research. Like it wasn't just like he listened to a couple
Hmm.
people on the internet. He like went beyond
Hmm.
that and did like looked at peer reviewed articles and
Well, when he
looked at
talked to doctors about it too, you know what I
exactly
mean?
like and he
I
had
mean,
meaningful conversations with doctors, not just like okay doc, what do you think I should do? It was like let me ask you a whole bunch of questions
I
about
mean,
this drug.
honestly, if they just if these sports organizations would just take it one step down to, if you're not going to get a vaccine, you need to be having constant conversations with doctors. If they just did that, you know what I mean? Like if they just did that, I think that would be a better option
Hmm.
than, like, literally you're kind of forcing the hand of people who just don't feel comfortable putting something in their body.
Yeah.
It's either like, okay, get it or you're not playing. And it's like, well, you kind of took the choice away from me, I guess.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So,
I mean, so
I,
a lot. I will say though, I will say a lot of people have still been able to play in the
mhm.
league without having
In
to
the
get the
NFL,
vaccine.
it's not
Yeah,
as strict as
yeah,
the NBA, right?
yeah. It's not as strict as the NBA, but what they do require, they do have some pretty strict protocols if you're not a vaccinated player.
Hmm.
And some of them are you have to get tested every single day.
Yeah.
So every single day you're getting tested, you're getting swabbed to check to see if you
Hmm.
have COVID. You have to be separate basically from the team. You can't really practice. You can't
Hmm.
really be with the team like going to the trips with the team. Kind of have to be
Hmm.
separate from the team. You can't be around more than three people at one time. You have to always continually have your mask on around other players. Um,
Hmm.
and he brought up a very interesting point in the argument. Sorry, this is I'm going to get to the Joe
Joe
Rogan
Rogan.
thing. I'm going to get to
That's
Joe Rogan
okay.
thing, but he brought up an interesting argument which I want to hear your thoughts on.
Yeah.
He said I'm getting tested every single day, and every single day is coming back negative. Why do you think I need to wear a mask? If in those press conferences also everyone is at least 20 feet away from me and they've all been vaccinated.
Mm.
And they're all wearing masks. They're all wearing masks. Like all the press
Hmm.
people are wearing masks. I'm getting tested every single day. So that same
Hmm.
day I got tested, came back negative, but you're still telling me I have to wear a mask. How does that make any sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. It's almost like because the argument against that would be what? Well, you should just, what if the test is faulty? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, then if the test is faulty, why am I taking a test every single day?
Exactly.
And or the other thing would be, the only other thing I could think of is like, well, what if you caught it after you took the test? Well, I mean, with apparently with everybody being masked, and with if you use the science, the
The
science
science. The
against them, yeah,
science.
the science against them, it's like, well, you've told me that if everybody masks, and I'm sure most, if not all, of the media is vaccinated,
Yeah.
you know, then what's the point of even? I agree with this point. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, I pretty much never wear a mask anymore. Pretty, except for like when I'm working sometimes,
Yeah.
because sometimes I'll be in contact with people. But like if I'm just going out about my day, I like never wear a mask. Just because I trust other people. If they're vaccinated, awesome. Um, if they're not, I'm not going to stress about it.
Mhm.
It's not. I don't know. I just think in my opinion, I don't think it's really a good decision for me. But, um, you know, I, I definitely agree with this point. I think it's a fair argument too, because he's also, again, one of the biggest case for him is that he is one of the healthiest people in the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
because he's an NFL player. If you're in the NBA, or if you're in the NFL, where they're constantly taking care of you and keeping you at your peak,
Yeah.
your immune system is going to be really high. Your testosterone is going to be really high if you're a guy. So it's like, what is the point of, what is, it's almost a better argument not to get the vaccine in most
Yeah.
cases,
Yeah.
and get natural immunity, because now he does have natural immunity, which they say is stronger than if you haven't gotten the vaccine.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, then if you had got the vaccine, sorry. So it's, I mean, I don't really see, from a logical perspective, I don't really see how he could lose that argument,
Yeah.
because it just doesn't make sense, and especially afterwards, like after he's had COVID, there's no reason he should wear a mask, like, there, because he's not going to get
Yeah.
it right away,
Yeah.
right after that. There are
Yeah.
very minor cases where that happens, but sometimes you do wonder if the tests are faulty. I've actually thought about that before, because I've had people in my family where, like, they got it, they were good, and then literally 2 weeks later they got a test and it was positive, and then like 2 or 3 months later they got a test and it was positive, and then those last two times they were like, I feel fine, and they were like, yeah, but you need to like quarantine because you got a positive, and they were like, this makes no sense, but
Of course it
um,
doesn't. When in the history of the world have we ever quarantined healthy people? When is it like,
yeah,
so all the healthy people get in the box? Don't leave the box. It's like, no,
yeah,
you get the people who are sick, who have actual symptoms.
mhm,
Anyway,
yeah.
moving
Anyways,
on.
continue.
So the Joe Rogan thing. So basically, he was saying, he was trying to make the point that this isn't political for him. This isn't
Mhm,
about left or right. This isn't about Trump or Biden. He said this is completely neutral for me. He's like, I'm just talking about my own body, and he overemphasized. I thought he overemphasized the fact that he's not saying this is what everyone should do. He's like, this is just for me. I'm gonna do this for my own body. This is what I thought was best for what I'm
mhm,
going through. Because I already have the alert. I have an allergy to to two of the medications, and the other one got
mhm.
pulled off the market. And
He does have an allergy to it, really?
yeah, so to the to one of the ingredients in the mRNA, I think it's what it's called.
Mhm.
He has an allergic reaction to one of the ingredients in there, so he couldn't get the
Oh, really?
two of the vaccines were already off the table for him basically, and
Mm,
so Johnson and Johnson was the only one he could take. But again,
mhm,
remember that one got pulled off the market for being, I
mhm.
don't know, there were some issues with it.
Yeah, there was it was a blood clotting issue,
Yeah,
I
clotting issue,
think.
exactly,
Wasn't it?
exactly,
Wasn't
yeah,
that what it was?
yeah, it was a clotting issue.
Anyways.
Yeah, and so he said, and again, this is before Joe Rogan, but he said another point he made was, he's like, well, my football career is coming to an end, and
Mhm,
I want to be a father coming up. And he was
mhm,
like, they haven't done any extensive tests into fertility issues, into reproductive
mhm,
issues that this vaccine may cause,
mhm,
because there's been no long term studies done. I mean, it just came out a year ago.
mhm,
It was called Operation Warp Speed, so like it came out basically as soon as it was ready. So we haven't
Mhm.
done any long term studies. So how do we know how it's going to
Mhm.
affect someone, 2-3 years down? And I really want to be a father. So I think
Mhm.
the best idea for me is like he was just let me count the ways of why I shouldn't get
Mhm.
this vaccine. He was just like going down a list of things of like reasons why. And
Mhm.
the father one was the one that really stuck out to me because I feel like no one's really talking about that specifically. No one's talking about the
Yeah.
long term effects reproductively that it has on people when you get
Mhm.
this vaccine because we just don't know. Like people are
Yeah.
gonna say, oh well, we assume it's safe because the CDC has done their research or whatever. But we
Mhm.
just we you honestly just don't know. You have no idea because
Yeah.
you don't know the future. So if it does in the future have those long term,
Mhm.
it does something to your reproductive organs, then it's like what can you do
Mhm.
at that point? You can't sue anybody. You can't get mad at anybody. All you can do is
Yeah.
just go, oh well, I guess sucks to be me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think I would agree with you. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that. And when you say that, people are like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah, yeah,
like why? Like oh come on, like I'm sure it's fine." And it's like, well, you're like, there's no okay. Can you find me evidence or
yeah.
proof
That is fine. Yeah,
that it's fine? Now they've done some. I was looking this up for my own wife.
yeah,
Actually, a couple months ago, and last I had heard, they had done a test with pregnant women um, who were already pregnant, and but it was a small study, so they really only
yeah,
had like one or two, and that involved pregnant women, and they didn't find any problems with like, but it was, when I say small, it was like 15 or
yeah,
20 women. So it was pretty small, but I think they should be doing, you would think they would do more research, right? But
yeah.
it's almost like people don't want them to do research. And it's like, if they would do research, I think more people would be more comfortable, right?
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
you would do more research, I think more people would be comfortable. If they're looking at it for themselves, like I think a lot of people who you're hearing who are, not wanting to take the vaccine are honestly looking at it from, at least from what I see in the media. I don't know if everybody's doing that. I'm
Hmm.
sure there's some people who are just like, I don't trust the government, so I'm not taking it. But if
Which
you're
is
looking
crazy to me. That's crazy. That's just crazy. Don't be crazy. Don't be a crazy person, okay? Like know why you're not taking it besides the government, okay? I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
Biden's
I agree.
untrustworthy, but just know why you're taking it besides that.
Well, it's a silly reason, because we just had a president where all the Republicans were like, take the well, Aaron Rodgers actually made this point
Yeah.
where everybody was like, all the Republicans were like, take the vaccine, and then all the the Democrats were like, I'm not taking that vaccine if it comes from Orange Man. And then they and then literally once Biden gets in, everyone's like, well, I think it's a good idea if we get the
It's safe
vaccine.
now, you know?
I'd say,
It's just Biden put his hand on it, prayed to himself, and it's safe.
it's not the same. It's not the same vaccine at all. And then and then I did hear some Republicans who were like, well, with Biden in charge, I'm not going to take it. And I was like, wasn't it a Trump
Yeah.
vaccine? Like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
obviously you should not look at it from a governmental or political standpoint.
Yeah.
Just evidential or evidentiary. I don't know. If basing it off the evidence.
Basing
Um,
it off. Yeah.
is how you should do
Nailed
it,
it.
off of the research. Yeah, got it. Um, but yeah, they haven't done a lot, and I'm hoping they do more, because
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love for my wife and I to be able to partake of it, but I really don't. And I've told her, hey, if you want to, you're more than welcome to do that.
Hmm.
Um, but I want us to feel comfortable and safe taking it.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
feel on edge. And we were both kind of not really sure. When I first heard about the vaccine, I thought, hey, that's going to help a lot of people. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. Me too.
Because I was like, and even when Trump said that he was going to get it out by December, I was like, that is got to be bull crap. Like, like he said that during a debate, and he
Yeah.
said we're going to be getting it out by December. We're going to be getting it out by December. Okay, Joe, you wouldn't be able to do that because you're so sleepy. Um, and I was like, by December, like
Yeah.
that's like in a
Yeah.
month. I was like, there's no way. And then literally, like in December, like I think middle of December last year, they were like, yep, you can like get the vaccine now, for
Yep.
elderly people. And I thought that was great. That's a great thing, because there are people who need it immediately. But
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
when you're younger and you have, like, I've been taking, to be honest, I've been taking a lot of, I think I said this last week, but taking a lot of vitamin C. Um, I've been taking, I need to buy some vitamin D and take that as well because I actually do have a vitamin D deficiency. I don't think I still have it anymore, but from last year I did. But anyways, that's way
But
too much
Eric,
information.
you're not a doctor.
I asked my doctor. Okay,
I can hear somebody in the,
I know.
he's not a doctor. Vitamin C doesn't work against COVID.
C for vitamin C, C for COVID. No, that's how they link up. No,
Where's Big Bird when
um,
you need him?
yeah, exactly. That was a funny video, by the way. I saw that. I need to show you a video later. Actually, that was hilarious about that. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, if you're younger, then what's like. I think my grandparents should take it. I really do. I'm concerned about my grandparents. I think they should take it. Sometimes my parents, because they're in their 50s, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I would, but I'm not gonna straight up be like, you need to take it or don't leave the house. Like it's their decision. They're their own people.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm gonna respect that. And for me, I'm just kind of like, I'm in my 20s. Not that I don't know people who have had problems in their 20s, but and I've had COVID once before, so I know what it's like. Um, and I just don't see the point in getting it at this juncture. Maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, or
Yeah.
if they do a lot of research really quickly, maybe now. But the thing is, they don't have a lot of long-term studies, and we're going to talk about it later. They are coming out with a supplement, hopefully soon, which I'm more interested in, because I'm curious what's in the supplement, because a supplement may have something that's not an experimental drug,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. It may have stuff that's mixed together that we're like, this is a COVID pill that helps your symptoms, but it may have stuff that we're more familiar with, like,
Yeah.
there's lots of drugs that have like ibuprofen, for instance, like they make Advil PM, which is like ibuprofen, and then it also has a sleep aid in it. And it's like, yeah, if they make something like that, that's like a COVID pill, and it's got a different mixture of things
Hmm.
that we do know and have a longer history, I'm way more interested in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, we'll see, but that's kind of where I stand. And I think Aaron Rodgers has a great point. He's way more healthier than I am. He's older than me, but he's way healthier than I am. I don't think he's
Yeah.
going around eating junk food and Taco Bell all the time.
No.
I
Yeah.
think he's probably got a great diet.
Yep.
He's super
Yep.
healthy, so I don't really see the point. And
And
anyways,
that
go
was
ahead.
actually one of the points he brought up in his diatribe was that he said, "Why haven't we had any health experts come out and talk about healthy eating?
Yeah.
Making sure you drink lots of water, making sure you have vitamin C, like you're talking about, making sure."
Hmm.
And now we haven't had like I agree, we haven't had anything that's been proven for sure it works against COVID, but we have had some medicines or some alternative medicines, like we talked about last week, that have been shown to help reduce the side effects or help, aid in your recovery of
Hmm.
COVID. And so, why aren't we talking about those kind of things? It seems like it's jab or nothing else. Like it's
Yeah.
either get the jab or there's no other option. You can't do
Yeah.
anything else. And the moment you like try to say, well, hey, I think this kind of works, everyone like shoots you down. No, 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 you can't do that. No, 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 no. That guy's a whack. He's a hack. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
Look at this. Look,
exactly.
he's a complete buffoon. He's an idiot. These are all the top doctors in the world. These are the only ones in the world. These are the only ones that exist, and they all agree with us. You got to do this
Yeah.
thing right here that we're telling you to do. And I think that sort of coercion is
Hmm.
becoming a greater force behind people not getting the vaccine than just doing the research.
Hmm.
Because I think initially, like you were saying, I agree very much with you. When Trump said it was coming out in December, I was like, no way, that is insanely too fast. Like
Yeah,
that's literally like,
that's
and it was
crazy.
like we were what in November,
Yeah,
maybe
we
when
were
he
in
said that.
November when he said that. So I
Yeah, and
was
I'm
like,
like
you're telling
December,
me
ain't no
in
way
like
it's coming out
in
next
like a
month.
few weeks, like that,
Yeah,
like because I hadn't heard anything about it. I knew they were still
yeah,
making it,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I was like, you're telling me in a few weeks it's gonna be ready, and it was. I was like,
And and the funny thing is, all of our supposed experts were saying, no, he's wrong. Like a
yeah,
vaccine is going to take at least 2-3 years to
they
come
were
out.
saying that. I
And
remember that.
I
Yeah,
was like, yeah, I mean that makes. I was agreeing with them. I was like, that makes more sense. That it's going to
yeah,
take maybe a couple years before we get a vaccine because
hmm,
you want to do long term testing. You want to make sure this
hmm,
is going to be healthy for people who take it now, and it's going to work long term. Because as we're seeing
hmm,
now, you need the booster shot and another booster shot. They just are now trying to get a
hmm,
third one approved. It's like,
yeah,
how many are you going to need? Now they're talking about maybe it's going to be like a semi-annual kind of deal you got to do.
Mhm.
So you want to get something that's going to work for everyone long term, and so you want to do longer
Mhm.
studies, which is why I was thinking this is not going to come out in December. Like this is just maybe
Yeah.
Trump trying to pump himself up for before the election kind of rhetoric, but it actually did come
Yeah.
out in December. It came out in December,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was excited for it because I was like, I know a lot of people are concerned about it. I know a lot of people are concerned about
Yeah.
COVID,
This is
and
a
they
good
don't.
option for
Yeah, yeah,
people.
yes,
That's a great
exactly.
option.
But I was already
Especially
under.
especially when it's been tested in the short term.
Yes,
Like my thought what when I had thought about it a little bit, I was like, well, they hadn't tested it long term. That's really what I was concerned about. But I
yeah,
was like, for people who don't have the benefit of waiting
of
long
waiting,
term,
exactly, exactly, like the older folks.
that's a great option.
Or
Yeah. Like it's
people with pre-existing conditions. So the people
yeah.
who are most at risk, I was excited for them because I was like, this is great for you. This is going to come out really fast so that you can go ahead
Yeah.
and make sure you're
People who
covered.
already have kids too,
Yeah, yeah.
like
Or or,
it makes
or
sense.
even just the people who were a little bit, you know, overly scared of COVID.
Yeah.
Like you're just
Yeah.
like you're kind of the person who's just like, I'm always wearing my mask. I got 3 masks on. I'm not saying this is like
Mhm.
you're a bad person or anything like that. I'm just saying maybe you were a
Yeah.
little bit overly concerned about COVID, and so this was a good, at least a good way to temper down your fears.
Mhm.
Hey, we have something
Mhm.
that's coming out that's going to help with this.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I think I thought it was a good thing. I didn't think I was going to get it because I was just like I had been doing research on COVID like the whole year, and I'd already
Mhm.
been checking the numbers, my age demographic, my height and weight. I don't have any pre-existing conditions.
Mhm.
I'm a generally fit person. I'm not gonna say I'm like benching 250 out here, but I'm generally fit. Like I can run down the street for sure.
You'll get there one of these days, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
um, so I was already thinking, well, I'm the least of people at risk, and if
Yeah.
anything, I want to wait and see how this vaccine pans out for people before I
Mhm.
decide to take it.
Mhm.
Um, but the driving force of you need to get it, 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 and like it not seeming like a choice anymore made me even more apprehensive about like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't think that's gonna be for me.
Yeah. For sure. Well, anyways, we don't want to get into like as deep of a conversation as we did last week. But anyways, the Joe Rogan thing, what ended up
Yes,
happening
sorry.
there?
Yes. Okay. So
It's
so
okay.
he said people who don't like the fact that he did not get the vaccine are probably not going to like the fact that he's now really good friends with Joe Rogan. And he's like
Uh,
he said I asked Joe Rogan what some stuff that he's taking, and he told me like about ivermectin, and he told me about some other things that he's taking that he advised that may be helpful for me. And he's like, and I started taking that stuff, and now I feel better than ever. He's like, I'm on top of the world right now, so I can play Sunday. This was Friday. He was like, I can play Sunday, honestly. If they like gave me a test, I could play Sunday, honestly.
yeah,
And so
that's
every
hilarious.
and so just
That's
last
so
point I want to
funny.
make. The the crazy thing is, one, people don't listen. Like you can just tell when you listen to like people argue against what he said, you can tell they weren't listening. Like
Mhm.
they heard a couple of statements that made them really upset, and they probably stopped
Mhm.
the video there and was just like, I already know what he's gonna say, and they were just like
Mhm.
so upset, and they came on. First taker was like, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. He's a bad person, and he doesn't even know what he's talking about. It's like you clearly didn't hear what he said. Like you clearly
Yeah.
didn't listen to what he said. You had your mind made up already. You came with a
Mhm.
perspective, and you didn't listen to what he said.
Mhm.
Um, but his point wasn't that like that's all he's taking, or that's the only cure, or that this is the best thing that works against COVID. He's just like, I'm just looking at a bunch of different things that might help me, and one of the things that was suggested to me by someone who's done a lot of research on it was ivermectin.
Mhm. Mhm.
No, it's not just a horse dewormer. It's also for humans. It won a Nobel Prize for this. Like this is not.
Don't turn into Alex Jones here.
That's what Steven said. That's what Stephen A. Smith said. It was a horse dewormer, and I was just like, no, no, sorry, it
Wow.
was Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp said it was a horse dewormer, and I was just like, we know this is not true. Why are you still trying to peddle this to us? It's not true.
Yeah.
We know it's not
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. We do. We know it's not true. What's funny is I know lots of doctors actually. I've talked to different people who haven't, and I'm a lot, and they have gone and asked their doctors, "What should I take?" Lots of doctors have recommended that,
Yeah,
which is kind of funny. Always go ask your personal doctor.
yeah.
Like, don't
We're not giving YouTube. We're not giving medical advice here. We're just saying we're reporting on a story that happened this week, and we're
Mhm,
reacting to it.
mhm.
I just think it's crazy. I think we're living
Yeah.
in backwards land, and people
Mhm,
are really losing their mind over this thing.
mhm. By the
It's
way,
curious to me why.
if you ever get a chance this week, you should totally listen to the episode of the Joe Rogan Show or the Joe Rogan Experience where he talks to Sanjay Gupta because that was a really funny interaction. I laughed a lot during that. Yeah, that was CNN's
Dude,
political guy,
dude.
dude. He was like, dude. He was like, why is your media lying? Why is your organization lying to people? He's like, we didn't lie. And he's like, dude.
Like, dude. Like you and I both know. Come on, now. It's just you and
And
I.
he was
Just
like,
you and me here.
they reported on it gleefully, and he was like, gleefully, and he was like, yes, they were happy, they were all glee, and then he said, well, sorry, I'm thinking of Steven Crowder. There, he said, this is literally what he said. He said, Sanjay Gupta was like, he was talking about the woman who reported on it, and he was like, I'm sure she wasn't like happy to report on that. He's like, well, it's not really her. It's that Brian Stelter. He's the gleeful one. And I was just like, that's hilarious. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. I mean, so he's gotten to be. I could see Joe Rogan being buddy with him now. I mean, I feel like if Joe Rogan ever sees like. I mean, he does this with disagreement too, but whenever he's someone he agrees with, he's just like takes him under his wing, and he's like, hey, like what's wrong? Oh man, I totally understand.
Yeah.
It's just
I
kind
just
of
think
funny.
I just think the media has really shown their cards to us. They want to be the only respected news source in the world. The CNN, the MSNBCs, and if you're not listening to them, you're the enemy. If you're not listening to what they say, if you're not agreeing with them wholeheartedly, if you're not on the ship, on the bandwagon, then they're going to come after you. They're going to come after you, and they're going to attack you, and they're going to try to control the narrative. And that's why I was so glad he went on Pat McAfee's show, because he got a chance to tell a story to people who may not, have heard it if without another news organization that he could have gone to get his word out.
To be honest, the world is moving on. Like past the news, it's like that's the other thing too, is like I don't know what it's like, in where you're at in Georgia, but I know here in Oklahoma, I'm not saying people aren't wearing masks. I was actually at Target the other day and I saw a bunch of people wearing masks more than normal, but you just don't hear people talking about it. Most businesses are over it. They're just like, if you want to wear a mask, I don't care. Like most places are like that now. Just because people are moving on with their lives, they're like, we can't like be hindered by this anymore. And
absolutely.
So I think I even worry about talking about COVID too much on the show because I don't want people to get discouraged because we're kind of talking about how we're sick of hearing about it, and we think that stories that are coming from it are crazy. But I'm like, I don't want to perpetuate that to whoever's watching, because I don't want them to be like, more COVID stuff,
Hashtag bring back the flu season. Bring it back, man. Come back to us, pneumonia. We want you, okay?
Whoa. Careful. No, we don't. But sometimes it feels like, I don't know. It's just crazy.
It feels like there's only one disease left in the world, and we're never gonna beat it.
Exactly. Well, let's go ahead and move on after that. So next up is we actually got Eric's picks today.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun,
Oh my gosh, here we go again. Anyways,
Eric's picks. Welcome, guys.
We need a stinger or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna make one. I'm gonna make one for Eric's picks for sure.
Yeah. You could get like a John Madden overview.
Okay, Eric, how do you think you did last week? Maybe that's the first question to start.
Oh, I think I did bad. I think I did bad last week. Yeah, I do. I think
how
I did
bad?
Pretty. Like I think I had more losses than wins.
Oh man, you ain't never lied, my brother. You did a lot worse than that. I'm sorry.
How bad was it?
Last week you were 2-12.
Oh my god!
You lost the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh my gosh!
You lost 11 games straight. The first 11 games you lost, and then you won 2 out of the last 3.
2 out of the last 3 games?
Yeah.
So which ones
did I
win?
The Cardinals saved you, and the Steelers saved you. How much did the Steelers win by?
Wow, I did so bad then. Was there a lot of upsets?
Yes, I was about to say that. So this is the caveat to what happened last week. Everyone in the NBA or in the NFL realize last week was crazy. Like we had
Mhm,
so many upsets, we had so many things that happened that like we never thought was going to happen. For
mhm.
instance, you picked the Packers last week to win versus the Chiefs, but Aaron Rodgers didn't play, and we didn't know that
Yeah.
until Wednesday, and we
Mhm.
did the segment on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Um, the
I was I
Cowboys,
was so I was so upset when I heard that happen because I knew the Packers were gonna lose once I heard that. I was
yeah,
like, "Oh, they're gonna lose." Like, it's
yeah,
obvious.
yeah, for sure,
So,
for sure. The Cowboys played just the worst game they played all season. They got
I saw
destroyed
Stephen
by
A.
the
laughing about
Broncos.
that.
Um, Crazy. They got destroyed by the Broncos, 30-16 at home, and so that's a game they should have won. Honestly, like I'm not mad that you picked them. That's the game they
Mhm.
should have won.
Yeah.
Uh, the Bengals got absolutely destroyed by the Browns. Um,
Really?
yeah, and
Wow.
again, another
That's
game
surprising.
they should have won because the Browns just traded Odell Beckham. He's gone. He's not even. No, they didn't trade
I
him. They
think I
released
I
him.
think I heard that,
Yeah,
yeah.
they cut him from the team. And so you would think, okay, we should definitely win this game then. But no, they
Yeah,
got absolutely
they got
destroyed,
better. They
41-16.
got better without OBJ,
Yeah, apparently
apparently.
so. The Saints, who have been crushing it all season, lost by a field goal at the last second to the Falcons.
Gosh.
It took a 68-yard catch for them to get in field goal range to win this game. So that another one that
Wow.
you probably should have won that one, honestly. Um,
Well, you gotta have one bad week, I guess.
this was like a historically bad week. Like I've never like I feel like if we put all the teams in the hat and you just like pick them out, I feel like you still would
Mhm.
at least get 5 wins. But you
2-12 is that's pretty horrible.
somehow the
Um,
Dolphins decide that they want to play football this year, and so they decided to show up against you, and they won 9-17. The 1-6
against who?
Dolphins against the Texans.
Oh, but it's the
Um,
Dolphins. The Dolphins are historically not that good.
the the Eagles, after destroying
On
a really
on.
solid defense last week, decided to go back to sleep, and they lost to the Chargers in a 3-point game.
I'm still listening, by the way, but my cat is doing something really weird,
Go ahead.
and
Hey, we might get some cat fans if you
I need to
put it on the stream.
I need to swat her.
Get a little cat cam. Aw,
Watch
aw,
watch
aw.
what she's doing. Hold on, just watch her. Ready? She's about to do it. I think. Hold on. She's climbing up underneath the the, the blinds, and I need to swat her. Maybe she's not going to do it now. She's watching something. There's probably a bug or something.
Yeah, it's probably a bug. Maybe she's camera shy. If you move the camera, he'll
She
do
might be. She might be now.
it.
Hey, what are you doing? You're not even listening to me. Anyways,
Cats.
continue for the moment. Sorry. Anyways, I don't mean to
Yeah,
interrupt, but I
and
might need to take care of her.
my Panthers just played a really just horrible game. Christian
I was
McCaffrey comes
I was
back.
really rooting for your Panthers, man. I was really
It was
hoping they'd pull it out.
it was so stupid. Christian McCaffrey came back. Our quarterback started the game. You know, he was knocked out with a concussion last game, and he
Mhm.
passed protocol and came to play this game. I don't know what happened. He just was like, you know what? I don't want to win.
He didn't know what happened either.
Yeah, apparently so. I think it was last year. I think it was last year. He played the Patriots. He said he was seeing ghosts, and so everyone brought that saying back when we lost to the Patriots because he now has thrown 9 interceptions against the Patriots.
Wow.
He threw one that was just like there's no excuse for that. Like it was like I could have made that throw. Like
Wow.
it was so bad. It was just horrendous. And I was almost like trade him. I just want him gone. Like now, like
Mhm.
I don't want him anymore.
Mhm.
So hard to be a Panthers fan. 4-5. Anyway, yeah. So I will say this. I'll give you that. You had a lot of things happen that would not normally happen. Like the Jaguars beat the Bills. That's crazy to me. They won a
Yeah.
tightly contested defensive game versus the Bills.
Man, I'm not gonna know who to pick this week. I'm
The
not gonna.
The Bills were 5-2 going into that game. The Jaguars were 1-6 going into that game. And the Bills had, I think, one of the best offenses in the league, and they scored 6 points against the Jaguars.
Oh wow.
I don't know what to tell you, man. You kind of got shafted this week. You kind of
I,
really got
I would
shafted.
say so. I mean, to be honest, if you think about most sports commentators, like whenever they pick who they think is going to win that week, there's always like an upset week.
Yeah,
It seems
absolutely.
like there's always an upset week in football. So I feel like, it's going to
Yeah,
happen.
and you would think that the Rams would have saved you because they're without their starting running back,
Mhm.
Derrick Henry, who is the best running back in the league by far. Uh, but Adrian Peterson came in and ran a touchdown. They called Adrian Peterson at his house because he was sitting on the couch. He hadn't played a game in forever. They're like, hey, you want to play football? He was like, yeah, sure, why not?
He was
And
like,
he
I
came
remember.
against the Rams and beat them.
He was like, I remember when I used to be good at football.
Yeah.
I remember. I remember that, and he was like, relived it. It's
Yeah, the
crazy.
Rams got walloped by the Titans.
Really?
28-16. They got walloped, man. It was
Dang.
bad. The fourth quarter is when they actually start scoring, but it was bad up to that point. It
Well,
was
I gotta
really,
say, I
really
guess your
bad.
Panthers probably aren't going for that wild card then.
Man, we were in the spot too. It's
Uh-huh.
not over yet, but we're definitely we need to win a bunch of games now. So we're not out of the contest yet.
That's what she's
They
doing.
get your little water bottle and poke a hole in it.
Why do you say that? I would spray it at her.
Yeah.
We used to have a like spritzer water bottle, but it broke. I'm gonna go swat her really fast.
Okay.
So we because she's distracting me.
I'm
Hey,
gonna pull up week 10.
what are you do? Get out of here. She's in trouble. Go, go. Come on. Sorry, guys. Drive me crazy.
All right.
There. Okay. So let's go ahead and start the
So
picks.
your overall record now is 29-32. That week really killed you, man.
Ah,
That week
dang.
it really did a number on you, man. So you're
Oh,
now in
that
a losing
sucks.
record for the season. But let's get to week 10.
But we got what? How many more weeks we got? 4.
I know. I want to say 7. 7 more weeks.
There's 17 weeks of football.
I think there might be 18 actually.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I'll be
18.
honest.
18.
I didn't.
18.
I thought it was shorter than that. I thought it was a shorter season. Anyways, let's go for it.
All right, so we're starting off with the Ravens versus the Dolphins.
Ravens.
Ooh, well, quick answer. Why Ravens?
Yeah. I think Dolphins just got lucky this week. They just had one of those good games. I'd love it if the Lions got one of those, but they're not. They're not going to. So which they had a bye this week, so I luckily didn't have to watch them get beat. So that was fun. Anyways, continue.
Saints versus Titans.
Saints versus Titans. Let's go with the Saints.
Why Saints?
They won last week, right?
Nope.
Well, that's why I'm going with them. I don't think they'll go back-to-back losses.
Okay.
I know it's terrible. I this is why it's Eric's picks, okay? Because I don't have a reason.
Bills versus Jets.
Bills versus Jets. Let's go with the Bills.
Already written down Bills.
You
How did
already
I know,
written
Eric?
down. How did you know? My dad's name is Bill. That's why.
No,
Oh,
just
Bill.
the thought of you actually choosing
The Jets.
yeah.
I have a hard time choosing the Jets for anything, man. I'm not. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't choose the Jets hardly ever.
Lions versus Steelers.
Let's go. No, I'm just kidding. Steelers for sure.
Ow. You're rooting
Yeah.
against the Steelers.
What?
Man.
I mean, I'm hoping the Lions win. I just don't. If you're asking me who is gonna win, it's gonna be the Steelers. So
No, that's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that one. All right, Jags and Colts.
Colts. I know nothing about those two teams. Let's go with the Jags.
Jaguars. Bucks versus Washington
Um,
football team. Sorry, the football team.
the Redskin. Oh, racism. Uh, let's go with the football team.
Why?
It was the football team versus who?
Bucks.
Oh, versus the Bucks. Why was I thinking? I wasn't thinking the Bucks. Let's go with the Bucks then.
Okay. I'm gonna let you. I'll give you a pass on that one. I'll give you a
Thanks.
pass on that one. Browns versus Patriots.
Hmm. Let's go with the Browns.
Browns. Why Browns?
I think they're going to win back to back.
Oh, okay.
I think they're
Think
going to.
it's the start of something new.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Falcons versus Cowboys.
I want to say the Falcons, but my gut's telling me Cowboys. So let's go with Cowboys.
Okay. Panthers versus Cardinals.
Who versus the Cardinals?
Panthers.
Panthers. Let's go with the Cardinals.
Cardinals. I appreciate
Sorry,
that.
man. Sorry, man.
Oh no, you're actually like 1 and 2 when you vote for the Panthers. So I'm actually glad you didn't pick us. Vikings.
I want to pick the Panthers for you, but I just know it's not going to happen. So
I don't know, man. We'll see. I gotta see their injury report list and see what shakes out.
Well, I'm not able to do that. So
Vikings versus Chargers.
Vikings.
Okay. Why Vikings?
I mean, is San Diego doing that great this year? I don't think they are, right? I haven't heard much about them.
Can't tell you, but
You can tell me now. I already chose the Vikings. And I usually forget week to week who's actually doing good. So
yeah, I noticed that. I think the Chargers are 5-3. I want to say.
shut up. Okay. Well, let's go with the Vikings.
Yeah, Chargers are 5-3. The Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Seahawks. Seahawks versus the Packers.
Seahawks versus the Packers. Let's go Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers has something to prove.
Ooh, that's a good point.
And I think it's off. I think it's off the field too. But he's gonna show it on the field. He's gonna make people root for him.
Okay. Eagles versus Broncos.
Sorry, I just had a thought. Do you think that if he's positive or if he's negative, I mean, do you really think the Packers would not play him?
No.
You know what I mean? They want to win. So I mean,
Yeah.
why would they start their second stringer? That's my thinking anyways. If he tests negative, which I'm sure he will,
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if they didn't play him. So over
Yeah.
a silly media story.
But you know what? I actually don't think he's gonna be able to play.
Why not?
Because I think he has to be out for 10 days, and he started. I want to say it started Wednesday, so I think he might miss this week.
Okay, well, I have a caveat then. I have a caveat because if he does not play, then they're definitely going to lose. Okay. Let me swap on this one. If he does not play, then I'm picking the other team. But more than likely, I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to win. I think his first game back from COVID, I think he'll win.
Okay, I'll give you that caveat. I'm willing to cede that caveat to you.
Okay. We spent so much time talking about him, you know. So.
Eagles versus Broncos.
Eagles.
Eagles. Why Eagles?
I don't really have a reason. I don't have a reason for that one. It just feels right. So.
Okay.
If I saw an eagle fighting a bronco, no, I'm just kidding.
America.
Only in America.
All right. Uh, Chiefs versus Raiders.
Chiefs versus Raiders. Now that's a good match. That's a historical matchup. People rating the Chiefs. You know what I mean? So that's American. That's American history right there. The Raiders. Let's go with the Chiefs. Let's go with the Chiefs.
Going with your boy Patty Mahomes.
I don't know any players on the Raiders, but the Raiders are typically a very tenacious team
Yeah.
from memory. So I'm gonna say let's go Chiefs, but I don't actually know if they're gonna pull it out. It just depends. I hate when a team who wins the Super Bowl just like the next year they're just like
Bad.
yeah, I hate that. And they've kind of been a mixed bag this year, so
All right, last one. Rams versus 49ers.
that's an interesting matchup. That'd be a fun game to watch, I feel like. Let's go with the Rams. I want Matthew Stafford to do well. So he deserves success. He deserves success.
Say that every week.
He does, man. He deserves success.
I think you've been pretty good when you vote when you choose them. I think you only got one loss so far.
You think I only got one loss?
When you choose Matthew Stafford, yeah. Oh no. You picked against him versus Tom Brady. They did win that game.
Yeah. Did I choose the Bucks? I did not choose the Bucks, did I?
When? This week?
Yeah, today.
Yeah, you did. Remember, I'll let you go back on that one because you originally chose the football team, and then you realized that it was the Buccaneers they were playing.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Okay, cool. So
All right.
real quick, just go ahead and update them. Just go through the list for me and tell them what I picked. My cat is still being disobedient, so she's got to go in her room. I'm sorry, but I mean, look, for the cat fans, you see that shadow? That's her. She's behind it, so I'm gonna go put her in her room because she drives me crazy.
Yeah,
So
I got you.
I'll be right back. Go ahead and just update them on the list.
Yeah, so Ravens versus Dolphins. Eric picked the Ravens. Saints versus Titans. Eric picked the Saints. Bills versus Jets. Eric picked the Bills. Lions versus Steelers. Eric picked the Steelers. Jaguars versus Colts. Eric picked the Jaguars. Buccaneers versus Washington. Eric picked the Buccaneers. Browns versus Patriots. Eric picked the Browns. Falcons versus Cowboys. Eric picked the Cowboys. Panthers versus Cardinals. Eric picked the Cardinals. Vikings versus Chargers. Eric picked the Vikings. Seahawks versus Packers. Eric picked the Seahawks. But if Aaron Rodgers plays, he picks the Packers. Eagles versus Broncos. Eric picks the Eagles. Chiefs versus Raiders. Eric picked the Chiefs. Rams versus 49ers. Eric picks the Rams. So that is that's Eric's picks in a nutshell, guys. If you are a betting man, Eric says these picks are guaranteed. So go out and select these teams because Eric is 29 and 32. So
sell your kids, sell your wife, sell your house.
Make sure you if you gotta put something down, just bet your soul. Just lay your soul down for it because guaranteed.
We're gonna get mail. Anyways, all right. Well, that felt good. I enjoyed that, and I feel good about my picks actually. I think I'm gonna have a good week.
Okay.
So, but we'll see. You heard it here first. So, but we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Wouldn't it be fun if you go 12-2 next week? Wouldn't that be hilarious?
That would be very surprising. I don't think I'll do that good. I think I might hit 10, maybe 8.
Okay. I think 10 is your highest win total so far, too. So
I think I might. I feel pretty confident about the ones that I picked, but we'll see. I'm getting more confident as I go on, especially from like last week. Like last week, I didn't feel very confident. This week, I do feel pretty good. Anyways, so we're going to go ahead and move on to a topic I was kind of wanting to talk about. We won't spend too much time on it, mainly because we don't want to be repetitive, and we kind of touched on it a little bit. I want to say last week or 2 episodes ago, but we're talking about them Lakers today.
Oh gosh.
And if we have
Guys,
any,
we're not Lakers fans. We're not Lakers fans. Just to let you know, guys. No, we're not Lakers fans. We don't really like the Lakers
we're
very much.
we're not Lakers fans. No, I'm not a Lakers fan. That's for sure. I mean, I've always respected the Lakers. It's kind of like with Kobe. I don't know. A lot of people hated Kobe, but they had a respect for him.
Yeah.
Like when he retired. I don't know anybody who was like, "Oh, I'm so glad he retired. That guy was garbage." Like most people, like most even Kobe haters that I know, I was probably a Kobe hater at one point. I think I kind of stepped off the gas a little bit there towards near the end of his career, but I started. You appreciated him. You
Yeah.
appreciate his talent for the game. I think that's probably what's going to happen to LeBron. I think there's going to be haters who still are like, I'm so glad he's gone. But I mean, I think most people, I'll probably feel that way when he retires. When LeBron retires, I'll probably be like, man, that was a good run. It was fun watching him play. I enjoyed cheering against him, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But we're
I mean,
talking.
how many people can say? I mean, like, if we really think about like NBA history, how many people can say like they've seen
Mhm.
the second best player in NBA history or the third best player, wherever you want to put them on
Yeah, yeah,
your Mount Rushmore or GOAT list? How many people can say that they've seen like someone who's been that
yeah,
high level basketball player play that long?
yeah, for sure. Well, I think the other thing too is that like they he's somebody his size, the way he's built, you're not going to see another player like that for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Even if his son comes into the NBA, his son is not built that way. His son
No,
is like
he's much more lanky and
yeah, he's a lot more lean. He's almost more like a what would you compare him to? You
um
probably could pull up a better comparison than me. But he's not like a Giannis, but he's kind of like a Steph Curry mixed with
he's like a
I don't know.
shy, like the guy on your team, Shea Gilgis.
Oh,
Like, if you
yeah,
look at him, he's a
that's fair.
very scrawny kind of guy, but he's tall. He has some
Yeah,
height on him.
that's fair.
Um, I think he's more built like that. But I do think probably by the time he like transitions into college and stuff like that, I think he'll bulk up. I do think he's gonna bulk up.
You think so?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he has the genes for it,
Well,
so you'd be surprised if he didn't.
yeah, but he's not going to be as broad as his dad, though.
Oh
I mean,
no, no,
his
yeah, no, no,
his
no.
dad is freaking. I agree. Most NBA players fill out though from
Yeah.
college to the NBA. I mean, I would
I mean,
say probably
honestly, after
similar.
your first 2 years of the NBA, you're
Yeah,
gonna fill
I
out
was
even
I
more.
was just about to say that. Yeah, within like your first 3 years. So I mean, for sure. But anyways, we're gonna talk about how the Lakers are trash today. They are garbage because my Oklahoma City Thunder. My
You guys should
gosh,
be at the top of every power ranking at this point,
they
right?
every time they play LeBron, they just grab him, put him over the mascot's knee, and then the mascot just starts wailing on him.
Well, actually, you guys
Okay,
haven't played
teaches him a
LeBron yet.
lesson. LeBron? What are
Yeah,
you
you
talking
haven't
about? Oh,
played him yet.
because he's been
He's
out.
been injured. Yeah, he's been injured. So the 2 games you guys played against the Lakers, it has not been against LeBron.
It's good for him. Okay, good for him.
Well, it's
But anyway,
LeBron's team, so I mean, it's virtually the same thing.
yeah, I guess. What is he injured with, by the way? Because I have noticed he's been sitting out games, but I didn't really know why. I thought maybe they were just saving him for something because
Yeah,
they've done that before, where they're like, "Ah, you don't need to play this game, LeBron," and they lose. But anyways,
yeah. So the first time was like ankle soreness, I think. So he said like
hmm
he basically was like he had an ankle injury last year, and they basically
oh,
was like, hey, so he's getting a little sore on his ankle, and it was a back to
hmm
back game too. So I mean, he's like 37 now or 38 or something
hmm
like that. So he's pretty old. So
hmm
playing back to backs really isn't something he's probably going to do anymore. I'd be
hmm
surprised if he does that anymore. So they decided to sit him for that game, and then I think now he's out with abdominal. I think it was like abdominal tear
hmm
or
Do you think he's trying to? This is kind of a side question, but do you think he's trying to just extend his career as far as possible
just you just mean like in general or with the injury?
in general?
Yeah,
Because I could
yeah,
because I
yeah.
could see him being like, "Oh man, my knee's kind of hurting today. I'm going to sit out a game." And it's like for most players that's kind of like a like
Don't do
really
that.
like your knee is sore or your ankle's kind of sore.
Well, I don't
Like
know.
that's
So,
kind
so
of
I think more than recently, we've gotten into a more heightened stage of like injury, and
You mean like in
especially
the
since like
NBA?
yeah, in the NBA, especially since
That's
like
that's fair.
Kevin Durant got misdiagnosed when he played with the Warriors in the
Mhm.
finals, and they basically like threw him back out there even though he was still kind of injured, and then he ended up like I think he
That's
tore his
true.
ACL or something like that.
Yeah.
And since then, I think a lot more players and the Kawhi, same thing happened to Kawhi. Kawhi said he got misdiagnosed by the Spurs training staff or the Spurs staff, and he
Mhm.
felt like he was still injured, but they were telling him, "No, you're completely healthy. Go out there and play."
Mhm.
So I think a lot more players have taken it upon themselves to one always get second opinions from their own personal doctors, and then
Mhm.
two not risk it because it's just not worth it. Like it's
You mean
never worth it.
they're taking responsibility for their own health?
You could say
Really?
that, but I mean,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
they're listening to the experts is what they're doing, Eric.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
I see what you're trying to do there. Okay, not on my show, not on our
Uh,
show.
Sorry, my bad. My bad.
um, but now he has
Anyway.
an abdominal injury, and they
Mm,
say that it could keep him out for like 2 months.
really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Well, what do you think? Okay, so let's start the conversation this way because we kind of jumped into it. The reason we're saying the Lakers are trash is because they have I feel like a deep bench of superstars, and they're 6-5. They're basically batting 500 for the season so far, and they've lost against OKC twice. Which I'm not here to say OKC is like the best team in the league. They're really not. They're not doing that great. They're 3-6, so they're doing even worse than them. But two of those wins are against the Lakers. I mean, and what's crazy is they've played very well against the Lakers. But I mean, I don't know. It just kind of surprises me that the Lakers with the roster they have are doing this horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's kind of what we're talking about today because most people expected the Lakers going into the season. Now I don't know if LeBron was always going to play at the start of the season or not, but I would say most people, if they just know LeBron's on that team, most general basketball fans are probably going to be like, oh, they're going to start off the season really well, especially with Westbrook. I think most
Yeah.
people kind of thought that they would start off well. But was LeBron always rumored to not be playing at the start of the season, or was that something that happened after like the first game?
No. Okay. So this is. I just got an update. So it says that he may miss 1 to 2 weeks now. So I guess they
Oh, okay.
reduced it. Maybe it wasn't as bad as they thought it was.
Hmm.
But I think early reporting was like he might miss up to a month, maybe more.
Hmm.
Um, but at the so as we all know, LeBron's a GM. Like, if you think he's not, you're crazy. He's a GM.
Yeah.
He manages his teams. Any team he goes to, he ends up taking over the GM's office, and he tells them the players that they need to go and get. And we talked about this a little
Hmm.
bit last week about the team is just not well constructed. So the reason
Hmm.
why they went out and got Westbrook was because LeBron was talking, saying, "Well, I'm getting older, and Anthony Davis misses games regularly. Like he's probably gonna miss
Hmm.
40 games this year, not just because of like one injury, but like just a amalgamation of things that are gonna happen. This is just
Hmm.
what he typically does. Um,
Hmm.
so he's basically saying, okay, we need somebody who's gonna be able to come on and just be a superstar by themselves if me
Hmm.
and Anthony Davis can't play." And that was
Hmm.
supposed to be Westbrook. And so they had a really good shooter in Buddy Hield, who they were originally going to trade for. The deal was basically done, but it seemed that LeBron was the one who nixed the deal and said he wanted to go get Westbrook instead.
Wow. They were going to get Buddy Heel? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's surprising.
Me and Eric have history with Buddy Hield. We actually saw him play in college.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
he
did
played
get to
against our
see him play.
school, played against our college. He was a lights out shooter, and it
And
still
he
is.
beat us.
He's actually even better now. Um,
I believe that.
yeah, the team is just poorly constructed. That's the reason why they're losing all these games. Team is
Hmm.
poorly constructed. They don't have a very strong coach. I mean, their coach, his specialty is supposed to be defense, but
Hmm.
they're an older team. Like if you think about all these guys they have on their team, there's a bunch of old players. Carmelo
Hmm.
Anthony, he's over like 30.
Hmm.
Dwight Howard, way over 30.
Hmm.
Westbrook, over 30. Um,
Hmm.
LeBron James, over 30. Uh, a lot of their team is just so old,
Hmm.
and
Well,
especially if you're
yeah.
sorry,
Okay,
especially if
no,
you're going
go,
to play
no,
against
go ahead.
a younger team like the Thunder. Those are
Hmm.
teams that are going to continue to keep running at you the whole game. Like they're never going
Yeah.
to stop. So you can be up 26 and they'll come back on you because they just got fresh
Hmm.
legs constantly. You can go up 19 and they're going to come back on you because they got fresh legs because they're just younger. They don't have as much
Hmm.
mileage on their bodies as a Carmelo Anthony or a Westbrook does.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's true. I think that's kind of always been, to be honest, that's always been the Thunder strength, is that generally they have a young team,
Yeah,
because we talked about this last week, but kind of what they usually do is they save up draft picks, and they use those draft picks to get really young, what they hope is young good talent, that's going to stick with them for a while and hopefully grow that team, and build it to something beneficial. Now, and we talked about how that's kind of a longer road for championships and things like that,
yeah,
which is kind of the downside to it. The Thunder is still the youngest organization in the NBA, but they've had the chance for so much success recently that it's kind of frustrating. But that's always been the benefit, is that they can usually run the ball really well because they're so young.
yeah,
They don't get tired as quickly.
yeah.
Um, and that's
No,
that. If you end up sleeping on that team, they can usually take over pretty quick by running around you in circles.
yeah.
I'm not saying they're always the best offensively or defensively, but
Oh
that's
yeah,
usually something that's constant with that team, right? Is that they have
yeah,
so many young players, they can just go coast to coast
yeah.
really, really well. So,
I think that's the thing that hampers a lot of younger teams is that they get when you get into the NBA is a lot more set plays. Like it's a lot more
mhm,
half court action than you're probably used to in
mhm,
college or even in high school.
mhm,
So with a lot of younger teams, you're going to probably generally see their pace, or sorry, not their pace, but their fast break scoring is going to be a lot higher because they're just it's easier to run out on a break and get a layup or a dunk
mhm,
because it's just a simple play. You make a pass, you make another pass, you dribble, you do whatever you gotta do when you get to the rim.
yeah,
But that's what I think, and again, that's what older teams are going to struggle with is fast break points because
mhm,
it's a lot more effort once you play the good defense to like get back on
mhm,
the other end and like really push the ball like that. It's a
yeah.
lot easier for
Reminds
them to do.
reminds me of what James Harden did in that
Yeah,
game the other day. Did you see that, where he just kind of
yeah.
like let the dude score, and everyone was
He
like,
fell asleep for a second.
"Boo!"
He fell asleep for a second.
He was like, "What?"
It felt like I was watching 2K. Like it felt like I was watching a 2K game, and it just like my
He
player just
just
like
like glitched.
glitched, and the computer was like, "Oh, cool, dunk," and I was like, "Wait, what? Why did that happen? What's wrong with my
He,
controller?"
that's what the GM was wondering. They're like, "Well," they're like, "What's wrong?" Like, I pay him so
I
much
pressed the X
money.
button. Why is it not working?
That's hilarious. Well, I'm gonna go over the Los Angeles Lakers roster, and I'm gonna pick names that most I would say general basketball fans know. Now, they may have some that I'm unaware of because I haven't. I'm kind of getting back into the NBA. I haven't watched for a few years,
Yeah,
so but I'm just gonna name the ones that I know of who um are are honestly, I would say decent. I'm moderately big to superstar names. Okay, so they have Trevor Ariza, they have Carmelo Anthony, they have Avery Bradley, they have Anthony Davis, they have Dwight Howard, they have LeBron James, they have DeAndre Jordan, they have Rajon Rondo, they have Russell Westbrook, and I want to say I know of Austin Reeves, but it looks like they must have just got him
yeah, he's a new draft.
recently.
They
Yeah,
just they drafted him.
I want to say I know of him. Well, I just saw. Well, it just told me that his college was Oklahoma, OU, so that might be why I know him. But I want to say I know about him as well. But that's not their full roster. But you can tell it goes probably three or maybe four people into their bench of like superstars slash big names. You could, and some of those people you could argue. You could argue whether Rajon Rondo is a superstar. I would say he probably is. I think he's got that kind of name. But I mean, what's crazy is just how it seems like they just can't work together
Yeah,
properly. And this is a problem that we see with super teams all the time. And it's one reason why I hate super teams, is because sometimes you get really crappy basketball.
yeah,
Like you get really crappy basketball out of them, whether it's ego or whatever it is. Do you think that it's an ego problem? You've been watching them a little bit more closely than I have. Do you think that it's an ego problem? Do you think it's kind of like, because we talked about this last week as well. This is the second superstar Lakers team, and I'm not counting when they won the championship. I'm not saying overall when LeBron was there either. I'm just saying this is the second superstar team that they've had
hmm
because they had one with Kobe back in the day, when because LeBron started doing it, so they were like, hey, let's get one with Kobe, and it went horrible with Kobe. Again, it seems like it's not going very well also, which there's still a lot of the season left, But I mean, what do you think is the problem there? Do you think it's ego, or do you think it's something a little bit
No, no, I think it's
deeper
I
there?
think it's the way. I keep saying this, but um, you can't just like close your eyes and then go into a hat, grab like a list of superstar names and pull them out
Mhm,
and go, yeah, this is my team and this is gonna work. Like it just doesn't work like that. You have to
mhm,
have a solid game plan before you go in and start picking players on
mhm,
what you're looking for. Like if you look at the Spurs organization, they've always drafted well, they've always picked players well because they know what they're looking for, and they're not going to
mhm,
sell. They're not going to compromise on that. This team has way they have too many guys who do the same thing, play the same role, and
mhm.
there's not enough spacing. And if
Yeah, that's
you've
fair.
seen the league, it's completely transformed to a spacing game. It's all about spacing. But if I'm playing the Lakers, I'm going to pack the paint. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to dare all your guys to shoot and to beat us by shooting because none of them
Mhm,
can really consistently shoot. Carmelo, he's a streaky guy. He may get hot one game, he may be off another game. Um, Westbrook obviously really can't hit anything. He's I think he's like under 30% this year from threes and under 40 from the field.
mhm.
Um, DeAndre Jordan obviously can't shoot threes. Anthony Davis has been so wishy washy with threes. I think he's under
And
40% as well.
well, and Westbrook, he can't really. I don't think he can do what. I mean, he got a triple double last time I heard. I think he got a triple double against
Quadruple double
OKC. He got a quadruple double against OKC.
turnovers, man. He had 10 turnovers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I
Well,
think he's leading the league in turnovers right now.
I could see that, but I mean, he can't really do what he wants to do. He can't really play his style with all those people around, and we kind of talked about that
Yeah,
last
but
week.
he's getting a chance to. It's just not working anymore. Like
Hmm.
people have like I think they know how he plays now. And
Yeah.
you gotta admit, even if you are a huge Westbrook fan, he's gotten slower. Like it's just age, and the mileage, and the way he attacks the
Hmm.
rim. It's all gotten slower. He's gotten
Yeah.
a step behind, and people are catching up with him now. So like he's now people are challenging him at the rim instead of he used to like dunk on people.
Hmm.
Now he can't really dunk on them. Now he has to find a way to get around them.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people are realizing his drive and then drop off. I think people are realizing that that's going on too, and they're stopping that
Hmm.
too. But again, if I can put four bodies in the paint, it doesn't matter what Russell Westbrook can do. If I can get
Hmm.
four guys to just sit in the paint all night and play that way for 48 minutes, it doesn't matter what Westbrook can do because there's no one who's going to threaten me
Hmm.
outside.
Hmm.
You don't have any
Do
shooters
you think?
who I'm really scared of.
Do you think LeBron actually play? Do you think if LeBron's healthy, he actually he benefits the team very much, or do you think they're kind of going to be in the same situation?
Oh yeah, but I think he's going to get. I think if they don't fix something, he's going to get more hurt because
Hmm.
a couple games ago when he was playing, he ended up having to basically take over the fourth quarter to make sure they won against the Houston Rockets,
Mm.
who are a terrible team.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's partly what led to his injury was because he was having to play so hard in order to make sure they didn't lose this game. That should have been a cakewalk for them with the amount of talent they have on their roster. But
Hmm.
again, if you have LeBron James, if you have Russell Westbrook, if you have Carmelo Anthony, you have Anthony Davis and DeAndre Jordan, if that's your starting five, I'm going to tell all my guys, dare all of them to shoot. Dare all of them to shoot and just protect the paint. And
Hmm.
we'll live with whatever result comes out. If you guys have a hot night that night, well, that's just your game. But you give
Hmm.
me 4 or 5 games of that, you're not going to do that every night. And
Hmm.
they're not shooting very well from the free throw line either because Westbrook's not a good free throw shooter, and neither is LeBron. Neither one of them are very good free throw shooters. So we're gonna foul you hard when you come to the paint. If you do come in here, we're gonna foul you hard, and we're gonna force you to shoot free throws, and we're gonna force you to take
Hmm.
long distance shots. And that's just
Hmm.
easy. It's easy to play. It's easy to play that way.
Hmm. I think Carmelo is. I don't. I really the only reason I feel like Carmelo's on that team is because he's friends with LeBron.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
oh yeah,
I
yeah,
don't really see him. I've honestly the past like 5 years, I haven't really seen a benefit of him being on a team. There was even that season where he wasn't even on a team, right? Like he wasn't.
yeah, yeah,
I think they finally picked him up later in the season, but like he wasn't even on a team for so many months because I mean he just seems like a selfish player. He never really seems like someone who, at least whenever I've watched him, he never really he seems like he's somebody who has to get his, and if he doesn't, he's unhappy with it. Like there was that
yeah,
one year where he complained about being on the bench,
yeah,
and it's just like so, if you want to win, you got to take some sacrifices, and there's probably I don't think Anthony Davis is like that. I feel like maybe early in his career he was. Dwight Howard was kind of like that for a little bit, but I think he's overcome it. But I don't think they're utilizing their big men probably, effectively.
Yeah.
And you're right about them shooting threes. They're not good at shooting threes at all. I mean, LeBron's 3-point percentage isn't amazing. It's not bad. It's not like horrible. It's not like it used to be, right? But it's
Yeah.
it's not as good as a Steph Curry or even a Klay Thompson, which he's not even playing yet. But it's just not as good as that. And I don't know. I always think whenever I see super teams, I always have a feeling like they're going to fail more often than not because I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think it works together as well as most people think it does. To
Yeah.
be
I mean,
honest.
and it can, but you just gotta have really good. One, you have to have really good chemistry, and you have to have guys who are willing to take a back seat to winning.
Hmm.
Like you have to
Hmm.
have people who are like, you know what? I think winning's more important than me getting what I want.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to, let LeBron take over, or I'm willing to come off the
Hmm.
bench, even though I'm a regular All Star. I'm willing
Hmm.
to, make whatever necessary sacrifice I have to make to go win a championship.
Hmm.
But I don't.
Hmm.
They got Carmelo Anthony's the only guy over 80% that shot more than 10 free throws.
Wow.
So everyone else is
Hmm.
severely below that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they might they might do good. Um, they might do good here, fairly soon. They might pick it up once
They
LeBron
might turn
starts
it around
playing. I mean, it's still early. That's the only thing I don't like talking about basketball is because it can change so
so quickly.
quickly. I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen that happen, especially with trade deadlines being so far out as they are.
Yep.
You
That's
can you
true.
can definitely you can definitely have a change. As is Brooklyn doing very good? I haven't
Yeah.
been following them.
They were just on I think a 5-game winning streak. I want to say.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I
Yeah, they're
think they
seven
just
and
got it.
four
Yeah, they just got it broken. I think last night by the
by the
Bulls.
Bulls. I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just pulling it up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
that's good.
yeah, but they're missing Kyrie. Obviously, they're missing Kyrie. They would be probably like I'm guessing they would probably be like maybe
Mhm.
9-2, maybe ten and
I
two one, something like that.
Yeah.
If Kyrie
As
was playing,
as much as I, said like I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago where I was like, no, like Kevin Durant's not that great. I do think they're a well put together team.
yeah,
I do think they're well orchestrated. They have the right pieces
yeah,
for it to work. So, and I think I you know I think that's probably going to play a hopefully a good part.
yeah,
Um, but even them, they don't have a bench as deep as the Lakers. You know what I mean? And I
hmm
don't think I feel like when LeBron was putting together this team, um, I feel like he feels like he needs to change it every year. Don't you? Like I feel like he's not
tweak
happy
it
with.
for sure. But I mean, he kind of has to. Like the Nets have are kind of like at the higher their power now because they just got James
Mhm,
Harden from last year.
mhm.
The Bucks look unstoppable. I mean, they're not really starting the season off well, but they have a bunch of injuries. Um, and who else? The Warriors look unstoppable. They're like 9-1 right now. Only
Mm.
lost one game this entire season, and Klay Thompson hasn't even come back yet. A lot of teams are looking really strong, so he kind of had to do something, or they weren't
Yeah.
going to win. What I'm expecting though is maybe within a month or so they make a good trade to get like a really good shooter on their team.
Mhm.
And who knows? Maybe LeBron calls Ray Allen and sees if he wants to just stand on the corner for him again.
Ray Allen, man, that boy is old though. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if he
yeah,
would do that. I
yeah.
mean, I don't know. Uh,
I'm sure
Ray, I
LeBron will
mean,
take him.
Ray Allen saved him a couple times, but
Oh, a couple times. Come on, man. Give him a little more credit than that.
I saw
All the
I,
time.
I saw this picture and it was like LeBron haters be like, and it was like supposed to be LeBron's hand and it showed all of his rings, and it was like Ray Allen, and then it like it was like pointing to all the different ones, and it was like the bubble,
Oh, I need
and
that picture so bad. That sounds amazing. That's so creative. I love
I'll
whoever
s-
did that.
I'll see if I can find it. I think I know what it is. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you. I think I know what page it was that I followed that, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyways, well
So
we'll go.
what do you think? What do you think
Yeah.
about the Warriors, though, man? 9-1 start the season. They look really good. They look honestly really
I'm
good.
I'm kind of surprised because I think the Warriors have been forgotten.
Yeah.
like I mean, honestly, mainly because I mean, are they? Can you argue that they're a super team anymore? It kind of seems like they have the old band.
No. I
Seems like
totally
they
agree
have
with you. I don't think anyone would call them a super team. I think everyone
yeah,
would be like, no, they're just like a really solid team because
it, yeah,
especially since KD left. You know?
yeah. It seems like they kind of got the old band back together a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
which
The,
is
the
which
the
is
band who won the most games in NBA history, like,
yes, yes, for
which is
sure.
crazy to me that happened. That I witnessed that happening.
I know they had they drove me crazy, man. I started to hate them because they were winning all the time. Like it's bad when they constantly win and like nobody can beat them. But
Y'all
yeah, I
almost
mean,
did. Y'all are up 3-1. I cannot believe that.
mhm, it's crazy,
You don't
crazy
want to.
stuff.
I'm sorry. Eric does not want to relive those days.
I've blocked it out of my memory, to be honest.
Okay.
But no, I mean I'm looking at their roster right now, and I mean it literally looks like the team that they had when they won the most games in a season. How many
Yeah.
did they lose? They were in single digits, right?
Yep. 9. They lost 9 games.
Dang. Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. That's regular season though, right? We're not
Yeah. Regular
including
season. Yeah.
yeah, we're not including playoff games with that. Um I mean, I think it's pretty impressive. Who did they lose to? They lost to Memphis in
Close one.
overtime, too.
Yeah.
In
Close one.
in
Close one.
overtime.
And again,
That
Clay hasn't come back yet. Clay has not come back yet.
that's
So
do you think Clay's gonna hurt them though? Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes
yeah,
what'll happen is a player who comes back will kind of mess up the juju, so to speak, of
the
like the
chemistry of the
rhythm.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're just not that he's a bad player, but they're just not used to him.
Playing.
Or it could
Oh
just
yeah.
be like he just comes right in and they're like, yeah, but I don't
I
know.
mean, I think if any offense could do that, it would have to be the Warriors. I mean,
Hmm.
they have been able to slide people into place just like so perfectly, like puzzle
Hmm.
pieces. Um,
That's
but
that's
I
fair.
do agree with you because I've heard some people like, oh, I think the Warriors might win it all this year. I'm like, I'm not sure until I see
Hmm.
Clay. Until I see how Clay actually looks because
Hmm.
he's coming off 2 severe injuries. Until I see like him actually play like
Hmm.
several games. I'm not sure how they're gonna look. I'm not
Hmm.
sure about championship talk. Like right now, no, no.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of early. Again, it's early on. I mean, I like I keep saying, I think you get a good idea around Christmas on how
Yeah,
these
I
teams
agree.
are on how these teams are doing. I think then you can make a fairly accurate guess on who's gonna win, or who's gonna at least be there. But
Yeah,
I mean, man, if they keep going this route, when are they saying that Clay's gonna be back?
I think after Christmas. I think like it might be after the All Star break.
Okay, that's
But
kind
I
of
mean,
late.
they can really slow pedal him if they're doing so well. You know, they
Yeah,
don't
that's
have
true.
to. You don't have to bring him back immediately. You can really like kind of maybe even like start him on the bench and just
Well,
let
I
him
was gonna
come in
say
like
they probably won't play him full minutes right when he comes
yeah,
back. Like I'm
10,
sure
15
they'll
minutes a game kind of deal.
yeah, I bet they'll have him as a six man. I could definitely see that happening.
Oh my gosh, Clay Thompson is a 6 man. That's how rich they are right now. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
I mean, wasn't no, he wasn't ever a six man. He was starting.
No, yeah,
Yeah, I mean that is crazy. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it is. I would definitely be happy for them if they win again. Because they one thing I liked about them is they were kind of like a team that popped up out of nowhere. Like they were
hmm,
just kind of like good all of a sudden.
yeah,
Because Steph Curry had been with them for a while.
yeah,
I remember when he was playing, and I was like, "Who is that?" I didn't even know who he was. I felt like they had a bunch of no names, and they just kind of gradually got better.
yeah.
So, it would be fun to see it, and it would be even funnier to see them beat Brooklyn. To be honest, like I think that would be really interesting.
Wow.
Um,
That would be awesome. That'd be amazing. If this Warriors team beat Kevin Durant, I would love that. That'd be the story of the
yeah,
year.
I would too. I would
I would
too.
actually love that.
It would be an interesting story. You know what I mean? Like I would
Hmm.
I would enjoy seeing that. So I don't know, but we'll see. All I know is that we're not going to talk about the Detroit Pistons. Not going to talk about any Detroit teams because they all suck right now. I don't even think the Tigers are doing very well. That's in the MLB. I'm unknowledgeable about that.
Nah,
But look,
man, the Atlanta Braves just won the World Series.
I know. Well, you know all about that since you're in Georgia. So
Oh, I don't
I'm
really
sure.
care. I was cheering for the Astros anyway. I was expecting Atlanta to do
Why?
Atlanta things. I just don't like Atlanta. I don't like Georgia. Like this is not my state. I'm not from here. Like you don't understand. Like I've hated Georgia since I was a kid. Like I've always hated Georgia.
Wow.
I've
Wow.
I've never liked Georgia. I'm sorry, mom. My mom is from there, and my
You
wife is
must
from
really
here.
love your wife. Yeah.
I
You
just
must.
I've been a South Carolina fan since I was as young as I can remember,
Hmm.
and we always hated Georgia because we hated playing them because they always got the best recruits.
Hmm.
They always got the best recruits, so it was always
Hmm.
a tough game. Like it was like usually
Hmm.
either we would get blown out by them or be really close,
Hmm.
1-2.
Hmm.
So I've never liked and I've always never liked them in any sport that they've played because I've always
Hmm.
been on the opposite side. Carolina Panthers versus the Atlanta Falcons.
Hmm.
The Boston Celtics versus the Atlanta Hawks. It's like I'm
Hmm.
never on their team, so I've always been opposed to them for so long that I've like
Hmm.
I don't want them to win anything. I just don't. I
I could
like
see
the
that
fact that they
being
never
a.
win.
I could see that being a heated rivalry too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for
I mean,
sure.
we're literally state lines across from each
Hmm.
other. So
I mean, would you? Let me ask you this: if you ever moved to Oklahoma, which I don't think will ever happen, but if you ever did, and you lived here, would you call yourself a Thunder fan?
no, no. I still be a Celtics fan. I've already sold. I was about to say my soul, but
You would you would
I've
you
sold
wouldn't
my
root
life
for
to my teams already.
you wouldn't cheer for them though? Like,
Nah,
would you cheer?
I mean, I would, if I went to a game and they were like playing against somebody, like, yeah, I'll probably cheer for them more. Like when we went to the OSU OU game, I didn't have a
Yeah,
side to pick. I mean, I honestly didn't like your colors because they were orange, and I hate
that's fair.
Clemson. But
Crimson.
I ended up cheering
Oh,
for you guys anyway,
Clemson. Yeah,
and you won.
we
So
won. So, I mean, all I say is Oklahoma City is like a fun team to root for. They're kind of like to be honest, they're kind of like the nice kid in the high school that is the NBA. They're like, oh yeah, he's a good guy. He's like nobody has any animosity to Oklahoma City,
that's true.
because he's the new nice kid, and everybody's just like, I don't know anybody who's like, I hate the Thunder. Like, I don't know anybody who's like that. So I mean, they're just they're a fun team to root for too. Like, you're happy for them when they have success most of the time. It's because they worked hard for it, and they deserve that A, on the paper. But anyways, so
I
we'll
mean,
go
you
ahead
guys
and.
aren't doing bad. I mean, I think you guys
Mhm.
have an outside shot at a playing game.
Uh,
Um,
Maybe,
but
I don't know.
you gotta we'll see how the season shakes out. Come there are going to be injuries. There all this is going to all the I'm looking at the standings right now. A lot of this is going to get moved around before the end. So
Hmm.
like right now the Cavaliers are 7-4. Like this is this is not official.
Yeah,
This is not
definitely.
going to stay here. You know. So
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the stuff's going to change. I hope Oklahoma City hits a stride, because they've obviously showed that they can play well. So
yeah,
hopefully they hit a stride and start doing good. But we'll see what happens. I don't know.
yeah.
Um,
I think this is an important year for you guys though. I do think this is an important year for you guys.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, it's a good year to kind of see what needs to be changed.
Yeah.
Um, and it's important to see who the leaders are on the team.
Is
You know
Billy
what I mean?
Donovan still your coach?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm fairly certain. I don't think he's left. Let me see. Yeah, he's still the coach of the Thunder. I guess he won Coach of the Year recently. I didn't know that. But yeah. Wait.
No, your coach is Mark
No.
Demolt.
Yeah, sorry. Billy Donovan's at the Bulls now. When did he leave? He obviously left when I was not paying attention. He left last year. He left in 2020.
He's on the Bulls now.
Yep, he left in 2020.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay, cool.
So that's why I did not know that. So we have a new coach. What's his name?
Mark I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Dignut. Mark Dignut. I don't know. Oh
Mark
wow, he looks.
Dagnabbit.
Wow, he looks young.
Yeah. He's
Wow,
36, man.
why isn't he playing in the NBA? Oh gosh. Oh man. Gosh, he looks young. I don't
Well,
know.
this is his first year, so I guess I can you can pull some of the intensity off of him because this is his
All,
first year. So
all those OG fans being like, "We want Scott Brooks back."
no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
I don't want him back. No,
I never
I
liked Scott Brooks. I never liked Scott Brooks. I'm
I did.
sorry.
That's fine. I didn't hate him. I was just kind of like, he got us to a point, but he never got us to where we were winning a
Yeah,
championship.
he's like Mark
So
Jackson.
it's like
Except Mark Jackson got shafted for real.
it's like we're so happy for all the success he gave us, but he's not giving us the success we want. So
Yeah, he's not going to take you over the top though. Is
yeah,
the thing.
yeah, definitely. Well, we need to move on, man, because we got a few more topics. I don't. Do you want to cover the rest of them today, or do you just want to jump to Eternals? Because I feel like Eternals we're going to be talking about quite a bit, so we can jump to. Is there one in particular out of those three that you want to pick?
Just like do one of them.
Yeah, or I mean, we can still go through them. I'm just wondering if it's gonna, you know.
No, we're gonna need at least like what 30 to talk about Eternals.
Yeah, at least 30 minutes. So I
Yeah.
mean, and I mean, we might be ending up going up to the 3 hour mark, to be honest, today.
Okay, we can go ahead and jump to Eternals.
Okay, you don't want to talk about
if,
the other three?
Well, if we have a little bit of time after we finish talking about Eternals, then we can. Which I doubt we will. I doubt we will. But we have less time. We can talk about something else.
Okay, all right. Eternals review. I told myself I was going to write notes down for what I thought, but you know what? I decided not to. I told myself I was going to. I was
excited. I thought you were gonna bring out the legal pad, and I was like, "Oh snap, you got notes."
Maybe next time. Because I had a lot of interesting thoughts about it. Well, I guess I'm blowing myself up by saying that. I don't mean to. But I felt like I had a good review in my head, I guess, about the movie. So, anyways, you want me to start, or do you want to start?
Go for it, man. Go for it.
So, Eternals. I saw it Friday night. So I saw it Friday night with my wife. Got to see it with some Marvel fans, so that was fun. There was one loud guy in the back that was kind of annoying, but I did get to see it with some Marvel fans. There were a lot of things about the movie. I'll say this first off: very interesting movie.
Yeah.
Very different, which I think is good. I think different is good for the Marvel universe.
Like what do you mean by different? Like it felt different, or like the storytelling was different? What was different about it?
Different tone and different, definitely different type of movie for the Marvel universe. Different from the formula, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know,
It
if you want to call it
deviation from the formula.
Yes, and
I
appreciate.
I don't think I heard many quips.
No.
I had a couple.
I liked the type of humor. It was not Marvel humor. It was not Marvel humor. Where it's, you know, because sometimes I get too much of that, and it can be kind of bleh. You know, especially when they're hitting it hard, when it's just like joke. I'm like, okay, I get it.
He's talking about Thor Ragnarok, guys. If you don't know what he's talking about, he's still very upset about Thor Ragnarok.
I was not thinking Thor Ragnarok. I was actually. But no, there's other movies besides Thor Ragnarok though.
Yeah, no, okay.
Where, you know, I think another one that did it, I haven't watched it in a while, so I could be wrong. Another one that did it was Spider-Man Far From Home. I want to say there was a lot of jokes in that I thought were a little too much. So humor was good in this movie. I thought the acting was very well done. I did think the acting was good. I'm not going to go into everything that I liked and disliked just yet, because I'm sure you'll have thoughts, and I want to go back and forth with you a little bit.
Okay.
But overall, I'll say this. Overall, just first impression, I've only seen it once. I probably won't see it again.
So it like lower, was it like a lower tier Marvel movie for you, or mid tier?
It was lower tier.
Lower tier
Marvel movie. It was
like below Captain Marvel, or like above Captain Marvel?
Above Captain Marvel. Above Captain Marvel. Come on now. Captain Marvel's always going to be at the bottom. Always going to be down there. It sucked. I hated that movie so much. You know why I hated? Okay, I'm going to go on a rant. You know why I hated Captain Marvel? Because I was so pumped for the movie. I was so excited.
Really?
I was very excited to see Captain Marvel. I was like, it's different. It's set in the 90s. Like, everything about this movie, you know, there was the whole Brie Larson thing, but I wasn't allowing that to affect me. I was just like, you know what? It's going to be fine. Like, I'm going to enjoy this movie. And then it was just like so terrible. I did not like I did not like that movie at all. So
Uh,
bad. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that movie though. We're here to talk about the Eternals. And the Eternals, I could sum it up in this way for me. It had great potential in the movie. It did not have a good payoff. And
okay.
that's the problem with the movie for me. Had a great potential. There's a lot of things in the movie that I really enjoyed. I don't think it deserves all the hate it's getting.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I disagree with that. I don't think it's as bad as everybody. And there's people saying that there's people review bombing it, which I don't know if that's true. I've that's kind of the new thing to blame a movie
Yeah.
about. Oh,
It's
review
people are
bombing.
review bombing it. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I think that a lot of people just think it's a bad movie, and that's fair. I think if you're a Marvel fan, you're probably not going to hate it. I really don't think you're going to hate it. I think you're
Yeah.
probably going to enjoy parts of it. I will say this though, this is how I left leaving them. When I left the movie theater, I thought I'm kind of I'm kind of done wanting to know about these characters, and that's
So
honestly
you're
where
basically like, no part two. I don't really care anymore.
I don't really want a part two. It's fine. Like, and the thing is, I could see people really liking it. I don't think. I think part of the reason I didn't like it was my own biases. I didn't hate the movie at all. It just wasn't. I'm not a big space movie person,
Yeah.
and it was
Same.
kind
Same.
and that's why Guardians of the Galaxy surprised me so much because I loved that movie. and
Exactly.
and I like to use Guardians of the Galaxy in a comparison with this movie because it's very different, like Guardians was. It also had a team roster like Guardians did. Now it's got a bigger team roster, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But there were things that where the story had really great potential, the characters had really great potential, and it just didn't have a good payoff when the movie was over.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm gonna go with. But you go ahead and tell me what you thought of the movie.
Okay. Are we doing like a spoiler free section here? Because I'm trying to figure out where I
Oh no,
should I
I'm
step
not.
lightly.
I'm not. I didn't even realize I didn't say any spoilers.
You didn't though.
But
You didn't. You didn't say any
um,
spoilers.
I'm gonna go ahead and put the spoiler warning in. So if
Okay.
there's the spoiler review from my end or spoiler free review from my end, but
We're gonna get into
we're
spoilers.
we're
Yeah.
gonna get into spoilers regardless. So I mean, if you're watching this, I don't even know why you're looking for a review if you haven't seen the movie.
You
I
haven't seen the
mean, and
movie.
you don't want to be spoiled, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead.
I'll tell you this. I challenge myself not to watch any reviews. Usually, like after I watch a movie, I go watch the reviews and just see what people thought about it besides
Mhm,
me. Because sometimes people have different thoughts and they bring up different things that you didn't even notice.
mhm,
And I like doing that part of movie watching. That's probably one of
mhm.
my favorite parts is just watching people review it, especially if it was bad. If I thought it was bad and someone else agrees with me, I'm like, yeah, we're on the same team.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, but I challenged myself not to watch it because I wanted to have my own thoughts coming into this
Mhm.
review. And I had already seen some title clips of people like hating on the movie, and I was just
Yeah,
like, okay, don't concentrate on none of
I
those.
did too. I did too. Yeah.
Just go watch the movie and just let the movie speak for itself. If it's a bad movie, it's gonna tell you it's a bad movie. If it's a good movie, it's gonna tell you it's a good movie. If you like it, you're gonna know you like it, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Um, and let me say, that's the mark of a true a true non-biased person is if you can like a bad movie. If you have a movie that you know is bad, but you like it anyway, you are a true non-biased person. Anyway, um, I agree with a lot of what you said. It felt like a lower tier movie. It felt like it tried a bunch of stuff, which is what I
Mhm,
liked about the movie. Was that you could tell that they were like, let's experiment with going in a different direction. Let's experiment with different things that we haven't
mhm,
done before.
mhm,
Let's experiment and let's just see what works. Is what the movie felt like. It felt kind of more like
mhm,
a test drive than it felt like
mhm.
a cemented Marvel movie. It kind of
Yeah.
felt like they were just seeing like, okay, will a different style work with these audiences, or are we kind of stuck in what we're doing, but what we've been doing for the last
Mhm,
10 or so years? Which so that's I liked about the movie, but the movie, like you said, didn't have a huge payoff. There wasn't. I didn't connect with almost any of the characters because I didn't feel like I knew
same.
any of them.
Yeah.
Um, and I think this is probably where you're going to go, but with such a large roster, it's hard for you in one movie to connect with the characters because you just don't get enough screen time
Mhm,
to find a character that you like match
mhm,
with and that you can invest in. There were a lot of stupid moments in the movie that I just didn't understand.
mhm.
Uh, oh gosh, what was this? Oh, when he okay, this is a spoiler, but when he smashed that rocket to her head, I laughed so hard. I was probably like the only one in the theater still laughing.
What
I
part
was
was
laughing
that?
so
I don't
hard
I don't
at the
remember.
end with they're in a volcano, and she's like she stabs her, and then she makes a bunch of volcanoes, and she's like, "It's over, you can't win." And then out of nowhere, he like comes with a huge rock and just smashes her across the head. I laughed so hard, and it was so wrong of me to laugh so hard because I laughed
Mhm.
so hard at that. My wife
Mhm.
looked at me, she's like, "Why are you so laughing?" And I was like, "This is hilarious." She was so annoying throughout the whole movie. She was the most annoying character to me. She's so annoying throughout the whole
Who's she?
movie.
You talking about Circe?
No, the girl who thought she was Tinkerbell.
The girl. Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Okay,
Um,
I forgot
and
her name
especially
too.
at the
Yeah,
end, she was especially annoying at the end. Like the decision she made at the end, I was just like, that's the most annoying. And so I was
where
so
she
happy when
chose to
he.
be a human.
No, not that part. But when she chose to go with the guy. Dang, I need to get these
Oh,
characters'
yeah.
names. When she
Here,
chose to,
I'll pull them up too. I'll pull them up too, so that way we don't. Because
she chose
I'm
to
terrible at the names.
let the Earth die basically, so that she
Yeah,
could start over, which was so stupid. That made no sense whatsoever. It didn't make any sense because
her name was
she
Sprite,
would
by the way.
yeah, Sprite, because she would
Hmm.
just start back over as a little girl. Is what I was thinking, and this is what
Yeah,
my wife told me too. She was like, I don't understand why she wanted to start over because she would just start back over as a little girl. I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, how does that help you if you start the world over? You
yeah.
gotta get your memories wiped and just start all over in this little girl's body again.
Hmm.
But anyway, um, I thought that was the funniest moment. Now I'm not sure it was supposed to be that funny, but it was so hilarious. Um, yeah, I didn't connect with any characters. There wasn't anything about the movie that really like grabbed my attention.
Hmm.
Um, I was curious. I think the best parts of the movies was the flashbacks when they were like back in time and it was showing them going
Hmm.
throughout history and stuff like that, how they
Yeah, I
were
agree.
affecting history. And anytime I heard a little snippet about like Athena instead of Athena
Hmm.
or
I like seeing
the
how they
Peter
had
Pan
a.
story.
I like seeing how they had a mark on history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
I
are my
was.
favorite parts of the entire
Hmm.
movie.
Hmm.
Um, but again, like I agree with you, there wasn't a payoff at the end, is what it felt
Hmm.
like. It felt like the movie kind of just felt flat, and I think that was because we didn't
Hmm.
connect with the characters because
Yeah.
the movie was character driven, but if you don't connect with the characters, then the movie kind of falls flat for you at the end because
Hmm. Hmm.
the end wasn't a big superhero fight. It was basically like
Yeah.
about love
Yeah.
and him choosing love over duty. But
Yeah.
it just I didn't connect with the character, so I didn't feel that. I just felt
Mhm.
like he was just like, "Oh, well, I guess it's in my mind now," and it was
Yeah.
really stupid because he had already killed somebody.
I was telling my wife, so we can talk about the characters a little bit. My wife and I also kind of agreed. She liked the movie more than I did, but we did
Yeah.
agree on a lot of the movie's problems. So the reason I wasn't as big of a fan is because what I mean by, and I think I'm saying this for the people watching, but what I mean by there was a lot of potential but not a lot of payoff. The director and the screen and the story writers, they set up a really interesting story, I
Yeah.
think. And they set up really interesting, what they hoped would be really interesting characters. The problem was the process that it went through. So for instance, there's a lot of opportunities for redemption for characters in this movie, and they don't get redeemed. Like for instance, we see the biggest one that you can point to that I was like, are you serious? Was when we see Icarus, and he fights with this whole. My wife pointed it out to me too. She says, "Wow, this is kind of like he's having kind of like a religious moment. He's having to choose his religion, so to speak, his belief system of
Yeah.
we have to birth this celestial um versus his love for this woman. So he's dealing with like this kind of religious problem,
Yeah.
and he ends up, he's fighting them, and then he chooses love, like you said, which is like, oh cool, this could be a really redeeming part where he's welcomed back into the team, and they're like, you know what, it's okay, like he's, you could see a redeeming story, something that makes you feel good at the end, and he goes and kills himself. He flies
And
into
she
the
just lets him
sun.
go. She just lets him go. She's like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it,
gone
it was
now."
it was like, what? Like, wow, that's a downer. Like, I can't live with myself now. I'm gonna go kill myself. And I was like, that was really dumb. Like, you had a chance to do a really redeeming story here where it had a good payoff. Where now they're closer as a team, And there was lots of times like that. Another example of that was with I think his name was Druig,
Yeah.
the guy who started controlling humans, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
And they had another chance to do a redeeming story arc for him where he could have went through the process of, dang, like you're right, I've been controlling people and this is crazy. But they didn't just do that. He was just kind of like, okay, I'm done controlling people, and then he just went with the team, and it made no sense at all because it just felt so rushed. That was one thing that I had a problem with. Was kind of the redeeming they almost tried to set up this redeeming story, and then it just kind of like the process was horrible for it
Yeah,
because
I agree.
you just kind of saw them take the easy way out, or it didn't make much sense when they
Yeah.
chose good. You
They
know.
didn't it didn't feel like they fleshed it out enough. I
Hmm.
because I totally agree with you. Like when he turned evil, I thought, man, that's gonna be cool. Like whatever the
Yeah.
resolve for that is, that's gonna be really cool because he
Hmm.
had a very valid point, is what it sounded like at
Hmm.
least. He made it,
Hmm.
and I thought they did a very good job of presenting him like as a reasonable person. Like he
Hmm.
wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna go evil now and control people's minds. He was like he was basically talking about the toll it took on him to not use his powers to help
To
people,
see people
kill
like
each
go
other.
through,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and I was like, wow,
which I
that's
had, that was deep, right? I
yeah,
hadn't thought about
yeah,
that. I was like, wow, that would be really hard if for thousands of years
yeah,
you're
yeah.
watching people like literally destroy each other.
When you know you could stop it at any point, like you could literally
Yeah.
blink and it could
It's
stop.
like it's kind of like the Spider-Man thing of like you know, you almost feel responsible for what's
Yeah,
going on, right?
yeah, yeah. And that was his whole point, was like I am responsible for this. And so I thought that was going to be a really cool like
Mhm.
ending, like a really cool story to wrap up. I knew it wasn't the main story, which would have been probably even cooler if it had been the main story.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I thought it was going to be a really cool story to tie up. And then when they came to him, he still seemed like he had the same mentality, and no one really changed his mind. He just realized, well, I don't want to die, so I probably should
Mhm.
go and help them. It didn't seem like he ever
Mhm.
got his mind changed.
Yeah.
I think they were hinting at that he was trying to choose love instead of mind control people, because
Mhm.
the deaf girl, um, I
Mhm.
think he was in love with her, so that's probably what he
Yeah.
was supposed to do. But they didn't flesh it out enough for us. Same thing with the
It
main
didn't.
storyline.
Mhm.
Um, I thought it was a really cool concept of like, do you choose 1,000 new lives over 1,000 old lives, or do you choose 1,000
Mhm.
old lives over 1,000 new lives? Like, is it just to
Mhm.
kill, a billion people
Mhm.
so that a billion people can be born, or is
Mhm.
it unjust to let those billion people never be born so that
Mhm.
you can keep these billion people? I thought that was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
really cool concept. I was like, this is going to be so hard to figure out because I don't even know what I
Mhm.
would do. It didn't seem like an easy answer.
Mhm.
But in the end, again, it never materialized into a full on, this was the right thing to do. Like
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
movie didn't seem like it presented like the right solution, I guess.
Yeah, it had all these. What made the movie really interesting, and I think you're hinting at this quite a bit, is it had all these socio-political arguments in it. And so, if you're
Yeah.
gonna have, in my opinion, if you're gonna have politics in a movie, this is a great way to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you're not choosing a side, you're providing the argument of this is what's wrong and these are different ways to look at the problem, and so now we have these different solutions, and like, what are we going to do about that? Because those are real conversations that people are having. You know, for instance, like abortion comes to mind when they're kind
Hmm.
of talking about, should we kill the celestial or should we not? And this was my whole argument. I was telling my wife, I was like, they had so many interesting plot points in the story that ended up with Icarus fighting the team. And I
Yeah.
was like, that should not have been the, like, I thought they just did that for a plot twist that was extremely unnecessary.
I saw it coming
Like,
though. As soon as we
you
saw
did?
that she was that, what's her name, was dead. What's her name?
Oh, Ajax?
Yeah. As soon as I saw Ajax was dead and I saw his reaction, I was like, I leaned over to my wife and I was like, he got beady eyes, babe. And at the end, I was like, knew it, knew it. I knew he did it. I knew he did it.
I didn't
Cold,
know
unfeeling.
I didn't know that he did it, but I was like, that's, I when I saw that happen, I was like, that was really unnecessary. Like,
Yeah,
it didn't, it actually, I could see someone seeing it as predictable too. You know, like if
yeah,
you don't know anything about the comics, you might see that as predictable. like you could, because he was the one that found her, and he was the one that, it kind of made sense from there. Yeah, I only trusted him because I knew in the comics he was the leader. So I was like, I don't think he did it.
Yeah.
Um, and so when they did that, I wasn't angry from a comic book perspective where it was like, but he's the leader. I mean, I had a little bit of that, but I was like, these are like some of the lesser known characters in the Marvel universe. Most people aren't going to care. You know what I mean? Like, so I was
Yeah.
like, it's fine. It's not like you're doing this to Captain America. Um, so what frustrated me is they had much, 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 much better plot lines that they could have stuck with.
Mhm.
Like, I would have, they barely struggled with the idea of, should we kill the celestial, or should we allow it to be birthed out of the
Yeah.
earth. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's an interesting, when that came up, I was like, ooh, this is like a deep top. Like, I want to know more about this I want to hear more about this. I want it to be the main focus
Yeah,
of
the
what's going
movie.
on. Like all this has led up to this really deep, philosophical idea of like, should we take this life to save lives, or do we allow this life to be birthed so that it creates more? And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want to, and then they just kind of skipped over it. They were just like, they're
Well,
like,
this
we
guy's
can't
bad
kill it.
now. This guy's
Yeah,
bad now, so
yeah. They're
but
like, we
also
can't. Yeah.
another interesting point was the what are they called? The dragon looking things.
Oh, the they start with a D. Um, what are they called again? Uh, Let me see. They're called. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what they're called. I'm looking. I'm looking. I'm looking. Deviants. The deviants.
Deviants. There we go.
Yeah.
Deviants.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways,
It's like we didn't just see this movie.
it's been a couple days. It's all right. We didn't write
Yeah,
anything down.
but the deviants was an interesting plot point too that I really wanted to explore. Like
Which
they were
again,
like
yeah.
they were like, "Hey, we didn't actually be created. We were created, and now we've only been trying to survive. That's all we've been trying to do
Hmm.
is just survive." And there seemed to be like a bigger mystery behind what the deviants' purpose were. Like, why did they keep coming up? Like, it
Hmm.
didn't like seem like they could interstellar travel. So how
Hmm.
did they keep getting to these different worlds? How did they keep
Hmm.
getting transported to these different worlds?
Hmm.
Um, and then we had the ultimate deviant, he who becomes like a man, and he's
Hmm.
basically like, I've been trying to survive, and you guys have been trying to kill me, and that's not okay. So now I'm gonna kill all
Hmm.
you guys. And I was like, dang, that's gonna be an interesting plot point too. Maybe, and I kind of for a second there, I thought maybe he's the bad guy. Maybe he's the real bad guy. Maybe like it's really about them trying to convince him to help them
Hmm.
because they realize they've been taken advantage of it just as like he has. Like we're
Hmm.
on the same team here. Like we both
Hmm.
got taken advantage of.
Hmm.
But then Thena just kills him, and it's like, okay, well, he's dead now. Get over it. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Why did she kill him like that? I
Again,
was really upset about his death. Like I was honestly really upset about his
it
death.
was like, a good plot point that you want to know more about, and then they were just like, it
Eh.
was almost like they put so much into setting these plot points up that were interesting to people, and then they were just kind of like, well, it's not the main one, so just, they didn't spend as much time trying to end it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They were just like,
yeah.
and she kills it, and it's like, what? Why? That doesn't make any sense. Like, and there were so many moments in that where I was like, you have potential for this to be a really interesting, and a movie. A movie is good if it sparks conversation when it's done.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like when you like just want to talk about the movie for hours, like that's how you know it's a good movie. And when it was done, I was just kind of like, "Ah, it was okay." Like,
I agree.
I didn't really find, there was nothing about the movie that really made even, I mean, I liked some of the end credit scenes, which we'll talk about later, but even they were just kind of like, I was like, okay, like that's cool. Just the movie fell really flat for me. It just wasn't, um it wasn't very, all those different plot points that just kind of went out everywhere. I was just like, those were all way more interesting than Icarus turning evil. Like you could have picked any one of those. You could have focused on the deviants. You could have focused on killing a celestial. You could have focused on
The
um,
brainwashing.
the brainwashing, like all these different things that were interesting. And then they just they didn't pick any of them. They picked we're gonna because it feels edgy. To me, it felt weak. It was like you picked that one because you're hoping for more shock value.
Yeah.
And it felt a little disrespectful to I think certain fans. Um, because it was like I was gearing up for a lot deeper of a story, and it just turned out to be like, oh, he's evil and he's gonna, I don't know. It just
And
wasn't.
that is what it felt like. It felt like he
Yeah,
just snapped and he was just evil now. And I
yeah,
was just like, but why though? But
yeah.
like that's what I didn't understand was what was his why was he so committed to fulfilling the or the like the celestial's orders? Like why was he so duty
Mhm,
bound when the literal captain of his team was like, "Nah, we're not going to do that anymore."
mhm.
He was just like, "No, I have to make sure Arawash gets
Yeah,
his celestial." And I was just like, "Why though? Why are you so like hell bent on
yeah,
like killing your friends and your families,
yeah.
people you live with for millennia, for a guy you've never talked to or never met?"
And here's the problem. Now we can talk about characters because here's the problem is that his character was not fleshed out enough for you to
Yeah,
be able to understand why he's like that.
yeah,
Like you could make a case for it. Like I could be like, well, it's because, he just has more of a drive than other people to his creator. He has more of a connection. But that wasn't really shown. I'm just
yeah,
inferring it into what we see. Now, like I
yeah.
haven't watched it again, so maybe there's something that I missed. The movie theater that we were in, like, played it was really like not loud at all. Like my
Us
wife,
too. Us
yeah,
too. Maybe that's just how
my
the movie's made. Because we were sitting in the way
I don't
back. I don't
know.
know where you guys were sitting. We were sitting in
Mhm.
the way back, and at the beginning of the movie, I was like, I can barely hear it. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, my wife and I were sitting in the middle of the movie theater. So like
Yeah,
you would think like we could hear it really well.
yeah, yeah. Because surround
And
sound.
yeah, and no, we couldn't. Like my wife was like at the beginning she was like, "What's he saying?" And she was like
Yeah, yeah,
then she goes, "Am I not going to be able to hear this whole movie?" And then it did get a little bit louder, but it just wasn't really that loud.
yeah.
Like
It
it was
never.
super
Yeah,
annoying.
yeah. Which was so weird. I was just like, why can't I hear them? Like, I was like
Yeah.
literally straining to hear. But also, this is something my wife brought up. Most of the movie was in black. Like it was like dark
Mhm.
scenes, so
It was
we
very
could
dark.
barely see it. What was happening? We could barely see what was
Yeah.
happening. Which is why I was like so excited. The final scene was in the broad daylight because I was like, I can barely see anytime you do nighttime. So
That's
like when they were
hilarious.
like at the camp and they were fighting the
Mhm.
deviants, I could barely see anything. I was like, what's happening? Is he getting
Yeah.
killed? Who's getting killed?
Yeah.
But
Well, so let's talk about the characters real fast because you brought up that one character point with with Icarus. Here's the thing: is that the actors did a good job.
yeah, I thought so
I
too.
I thought the um acting was really well done. The first thing I want to say is they significantly underused Angelina Jolie.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I got robbed. I got robbed. I went there for her, and she was barely in the movie. I was so
I know,
mad. I was like,
I
"What
know.
is this?"
Significant.
I
Like me
thought
on
when
my
the guy died that maybe she would get more time into the movie. Like maybe she would kind of like start taking a leadership role in the team because it
Mhm.
seemed like the movie was begging her to do that.
To be a
But she,
leader, yeah.
yeah,
And she's
but she
just like,
never
no.
did. She was just like, "Nah, I'm gonna go off screen." Like,
Yeah.
why?
And for what she was given, like she did a great job of conveying emotion and she did a great job acting because she's Angelina Jolie. But but like the way they wrote her character was just so
Oh my
like
god, so robotic. It was like
yeah, they did. I mean, she did the best she could with what she had.
I
That's
mean,
how I
I think
looked
it was
at it.
because they were trying to get like that cold warrior who only cares about the thrill of battle kind of persona, but like she
Yeah,
should have had a lot more lines at least to deliver
she
in
had
that
very
manner.
little lines
Yeah, it was
and
like very one
yeah.
worded, one sentence kind of deal.
Yeah,
Oh,
my wife was pretty upset about that too. She was like, "Yeah, I just didn't feel." She's like she barely talked. She didn't really have very many scenes. Um and in my opinion with the characters, this is kind of how I feel about all of them. They did not give you a reason to understand them. They had
yeah,
emotional moments, but you knew nothing about them because literally I felt like they were like and this might get a little political, but the movie was pushed out as Marvel's like diverse movie, right?
yeah,
That's how you
yeah,
saw it advertised, And I literally felt like they were like, this person, this is the color of the person's skin, and this is their power. And they were like, that's their identity. And I was like, that's kind of what I felt like how it was. Like I'm not even like trying to lie or anything. It just kind of felt like I don't know, like Cersei loves humanity. We got that. I just felt like every person was like an archetype. Like they weren't really interesting characters. They
Yeah.
didn't really tell me about who they are. They were just kind of like, I would say most of them, you just kind of were like, here's their power, here's their race, and then like, that's how they fit into this world. And I was like, oh, like it's just not that great. Now there were times where I got connected to each character, like, um, I think Kamal Nanjiani did a great job. He was
Oh
hilarious in
yeah,
the
he was probably
movie.
the best. I think he was probably
Yeah,
my favorite character.
yeah, and
Except
he
at the
act.
end. Except at the end. Except at the end.
Oh,
But
when he just
other than
like
that.
straight up left.
Yeah, he's just like this the end of the movie, final boss scene, and he's just like, I'm out. And
I
like
thought he was gonna come back too, and he
yeah, I thought
didn't.
he was
And
gonna
he
come
just
back
like,
and be like the final guy to bring him down or something like that.
yeah, yeah, nope,
And then we
he
just see him at
didn't.
the end of the movie and they're like, oh man, everything's good. You left us, you abandoned us, we almost all died, but like, yeah,
Yeah,
we're good.
again, another opportunity for redemption in the story, which they didn't take. That's fine. It's just like there were so many opportunities for that, which people love. So, anyways, the characters felt like Kumail Nanjiani was interesting. He was very funny. You kind of got a little bit of a feeling of his character. But do you really know much about his character? Like, for instance, I like the scene where he's like he tells oh, what's his
Sprite?
name? He tells Icarus, um, I'll follow you just like I always have.
Yeah.
And while he acted very well in that scene, I never got any sign that he followed
Yeah,
him
that was
at
so
all.
left field. That was so
Yeah,
left field. I was like,
yeah.
what? You guys are friends?
Yeah, I was like, they don't really. And what's funny is a lot of them don't really always feel connected to each other. They
Yeah, they
kind of
don't.
feel very, I don't know. You don't see them interact a whole lot. You see Cersei and you see the two main Eternals interact most. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But everybody else, you don't really feel connected to them. You don't really see what their relationships are like with each other, so you don't really get a feeling of who they are. Um, Gilgamesh was I liked Gilgamesh, and we got to see a little bit of him like cooking and stuff. But again, he died before we could even
Was
understand.
he
We
in
were.
love with her?
I don't know. See, he kind of
That was
seemed like.
so confusing. It seemed like he was,
Mhm.
but then it also was like, no, we're friends. I'm like, what? And he
Yeah,
died for her. Like,
yeah.
he must
Well,
have
and
loved her.
the other thing too that I didn't like is he died just when we were starting to get to know his character, right? So we were
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
starting to get to know him, and I was like, cool, and then kill him, and I was like, well, I kind of want to mourn him, but I don't know if I can because
my
I
wife,
don't know.
my wife goes. She when she saw him, she was like, he's gonna die first. And I was like, what? Why would he? She's like, he's too nice. He's too nice. I was like, dang. And then he dies. I was like, oh, how does he
and then
know?
and then we kind of already talked about Angelina. That's really funny. We kind of already talked about Angelina Jolie. Like she was having all these mental problems, so I felt like I didn't really know who she was. I know she was like supposed to be the cold-hearted warrior, but she had such few lines that I didn't really understand her. Druig was the same way. Like like that he's struggling with the thing of leaving, and then all of a sudden he likes the mute girl, which I didn't really understand either, but he likes her apparently. But it just felt so like I don't. You get what I'm saying? Like, did
Yeah,
you feel the same thing? It felt
yeah,
very like, here's the character. This is what they look like. This is their power. Be connected to them. And I'm like, but you haven't given me a reason to feel connected. Like, even Cersei was kind of like, okay, she likes. I don't know much about her other that she likes humanity, but there's no reason for me to root for her or cheer her on. Like, I didn't feel that way for any of them. I didn't feel like I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to cheer any of them on. Like I was just kind of like, okay. Um so and I mean, what did you think about the characters? I'm talking a lot.
No, I completely agree with you with a lot of things, a lot of what you said. What was the guy's name? Faith Festus? Yes,
Which
Fastus. Is that his name? Is
oh
that how you
yeah.
say it?
Which Fastos?
Yes, Fastos. Uh,
Mhm.
I thought I probably tried to connect with him only because he had a kid, and I thought that was an interesting element to the story of why
Yeah.
he wanted to
I
save
I
humanity.
I would agree. I felt more connected to him
But
than I did
it
probably
felt
the other one.
forced because it felt like they kind of threw the kid at my face and was like, "Here, he has a kid. Connect with him."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, I
Mhm.
can't not connect with the kid. I mean, like that's just tough. Like I get what he's
Mhm.
going through."
Mhm.
But it didn't feel earned. It kind of felt forced. It felt like
Yeah.
they got the privilege of connection just because of a kid, putting a kid in there. Um,
Mhm.
I also didn't. I just thought Selma Hayek was so underused in this movie. Like I thought they did her a huge disservice because she also didn't get a lot of lines, and
Mhm.
she just kind of seemed like sad the entire movie. Like
Mhm.
it never felt like she was like anything but
Mhm.
just like depressed all the time,
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
And so when she died, I felt bad because he betrayed her, but I didn't feel like I wasn't like sad she was gone. I was just like, oh well,
Yeah.
okay, I guess she's dead now.
Mhm.
It also felt kind of stupid to me that she was supposed to be the leader, but she had like no powers besides healing people. I was kind of like, that
Yeah.
was dumb. And he
Yeah.
just like he literally just pushed her into the pit, and it was like game over. Like she couldn't do anything, and I was like,
She was like,
how is she the leader?
"Ah!" Yeah. I
how is
know, right?
how is she the leader? She has no powers. No one can like she could literally get killed by
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah. It was, yeah. I mean, most of the characters just fell flat for me. I was just kind of like, "Okay, like, that's cool." Like, they just never gave me a reason to really care a whole lot.
Oh wait. The
Um,
the valet though, I did like the valet. I did like him. He was
most
a good
people
part of
did
the
like
story.
most people did like him. I mean, I liked him as well. I liked him as well, and it's sad that I felt more connected to him than some of the other characters.
Yeah. I was sad he was gonna die when they were like, "Let's let the eternal live" or whatever. I was like, "Dang, they're gonna kill the valet guy."
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah.
I felt like he should have had a bigger stance when they were like debating the topic. He should have been like, "You're talking about my
Mhm.
family. Like, you're gonna let my family die?" Like,
Yeah.
especially when the guy walked away, I would have been like, I'm not your friend anymore. Like, you
Mhm.
basically just signed up my family to die. Like, I'm not your friend anymore."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was he was interesting. I like that they added him in there.
Yeah.
Um, I felt like they relied too heavily on the human though in the story to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, again, I liked what the story was trying to convey. It was trying to convey a love for humanity and love for one another in that way, and it tried to make a human story out of the Eternals, right? So it tried to
Yeah.
make them seem really human because they had human arguments. They just didn't. They didn't. That's not what the ending said to me. That's not what the ending said. Like the ending was like it was just ah. Uh,
Can
anyways,
I ask you a question? Why was
yeah.
he so strong? Why was Icarus so strong? Like everyone had what seemed to be like one power. Like
Hmm.
Athena could like make weapons out of her energy or whatever.
Hmm.
That girl could heal. The other girl could turn like change the matter or
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
Um, uh, one person could heal or say that heal. Phaetos could like make
Hmm.
weapons and stuff like that or
Hmm.
technology.
Hmm.
But Icarus, like he had like every power. He's like
Yeah.
super strong, invincible. He had
Hmm.
laser eyes. I was like, why is he so strong?
Hmm. I I don't know. I know in the comics why, because he was created to be the leader of the team, so he is the strongest.
Okay, so
But
that makes sense. See, that makes sense.
that's
The leader is
but
the
that's
strongest. That makes sense.
but that's the comics answer. That's not the movie's answer. And so that's the problem again is we don't even know why they were given those powers. You
Yeah,
know? Why
everyone
why
was
do
so
they all
scared of
have
him.
different
I'm
powers?
like, why? Because he has laser eyes and he can
Yeah,
fly.
yeah. And they were
Like,
like it was almost like they were like you were supposed to assume that he's the strongest.
yeah,
You know, they
yeah.
were just like, "Oh man, Icarus, like you should be the leader." And they're like, he's the strongest." And it was like, "He is?"
I
Like,
thought Athena was the strongest.
yeah, I
She
kind of
was
thought that
the
too.
warrior. Yeah, she was the warrior.
She seemed like that, right?
Yeah,
Um so that I mean again is the same type of thing, not enough information about what's going on. There was something else I was going to bring up and I can't remember it. Um anyways, yeah, I think I don't know. It was just the movie had a lot of potential. If you watch it, you're excited for something that that you feel like there could be a good story coming, and
Yeah,
then it just kind of meh.
doesn't deliver. Yeah.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. We're talking about the characters, and I'm gonna bring up a little bit of an elephant in the room. Um, I don't know if the character is like this in the comics. I have not looked it up. Okay, so if anybody hates on me, I'm sorry. That maybe it's being true to the comics, and I am unaware of that, so I could be ignorant. Um, if it is true to the comics, it was not great on screen. It just wasn't great on screen, and I think Jonathan knows where I'm going with this. Um, the mute character made no sense at all. I did not feel connected to her in any way. I don't. I mean,
She's
I
a
didn't know.
speedster.
I
Stop
didn't know.
hating.
I loved her
Okay.
superpower. If you want to talk about her one identifying, okay, two, like she's mute and she's fast. Um,
She's like what, Hispanic or something like that? Maybe she's black. I
I
couldn't
don't
tell.
know. I don't know, but I I'm sorry. It was it just me that whenever she starts signing, the movie just got really slow.
No, yeah, yeah.
Like it was just
It's
like there's all
curious
this.
to me why she was mute in the first place if she's an Eternal. That was the part I was
That's
wondering. I thought they were going to
everybody.
explain that.
That's the elephant in the room that I was about to talk about. Why is she mute if she's created by a god? Because you would think the god would want to create them at the pinnacle. Why would you create someone who has a disability? Why would you do that? No, like seriously, that's a I mean, Jonathan, would you do that? If you're creating soldiers, a team to go and do your bidding,
To fight
would you
monsters?
would you create one who has one leg?
No.
No, you
Unless that was the
wouldn't.
power. Unless that was part of their power. Like their power was like I don't know. Their
They could
leg
like
was like
grow
a
limbs,
yeah, like they could like make a sword come out of their leg or something like that. That was the
yeah.
adaptation of the power. Like kind
And
of like if her power was that she didn't talk because her voice was so powerful. Like she was like what's the guy's name?
oh,
Uh,
like Black Bolt?
Black Bolt. Yeah, she was like Black Bolt. That makes sense. I get that one.
The disability is their like power is what makes
Is
them
their power?
strong.
Yeah,
That would be different, but that's not what happened.
yeah.
Like she just and there was no reason for why she was mute.
I thought they
She
were
was
going to
just
explain it to us.
mute.
I thought they were going to explain it to us, but yeah.
I kind of did too. I was like, well, let's just see. But every time, like people would be talking, and then all of a sudden, and I was like, I'm not trying to be mad at the character. I'm not trying to be mad at it's. I'm not saying she even acted bad. She did a good job acting.
Yeah.
It's solely the fact that slows down the pacing of the movie, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't that slow it down? Like I told Adolin, I said every time I was watching the movie, I was getting immersed, and then she would start signing, and I instantly thought, oh, that's because the actor is mute. And I instantly, instead of thinking I'm in this movie about the Eternals, I started thinking about the actors. So it pulled me out of the movie.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
have that type of problem or?
I mean, I realized it was going slower. Like, I definitely agree with that. I think the movie got slower
Mhm,
when she started signing, but I
mhm.
liked her because she was a speedster, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And I like how she used her powers,
Yeah,
especially when she fought Icarus. I thought she was going
yeah.
to kill him. I was like, yes,
I
let's go, let's go, let's go. Get him,
her
get him.
fight with Icarus is arguably, if not, well, maybe not even arguably, it's hands down the best fight scene.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
loved watching her fight. I loved her power too. So it's not even the only part is that why is she mute? Like
yeah,
if the character in the comics like that, okay, that's understandable. It just messed up the pacing
yeah.
of the movie. Um, what would make me angrier is if they solely did that for diversity reasons. And if it's for diversity reasons, like to be diverse, I think that's kind of ridiculous because it hurt the movie. It did hurt the movie.
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
mean, and
I think they should have, if they were going to put her in the movie, they should have at least had a scene where they explained how she became mute.
yeah,
Something like that, just to
they
make
should have
it
wrote
make
it
sense.
into the character. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
make
should
it
have
make
wrote it
sense
into the
somehow
character.
that she's mute. Because like you said, which I totally agree with, if you're a god and you're creating a warrior to fight these mythical beasts who are like ripping people apart, you
Mhm.
wouldn't create one with a disability. Like you just wouldn't. You would try to make them at the pinnacle of humanity or perfection or whatever you can get them to be.
And if it's an actual disability where there's a physical problem with her, why can't Ajax heal her?
Ooh, another great question. That's actually a really great question.
Like I don't understand. Like that's why it made no sense. And it was like you need to accept it and I was like, "But why?" Like I don't get it. Like I don't understand. I and
That is a great
like
question. Why didn't Ajax heal her?
so I mean, for me for me that actually did annoy me. Not because I was thinking, oh, she's like not because I was thinking, oh, I just hate that she's mute, because she's a mute person. Because she is actually, the actress is actually mute. The actress can't actually speak. Um, I so it's not a problem with the actress. I thought she acted very well. It's that does this type does that character, being mute, does that actually fit with the movie? And I don't think it does at all. I think it actually hurts the movie because it hurts the pacing, and it raises a lot of questions of why is she mute? Why isn't she talking? Now, if they explore it further, that would be awesome. They should have explored it in this one. And again, maybe her character is mute in the comics. I don't know yet. So if it is, I'm sorry. I appreciate them being accurate with the movie.
Even if she is mute
Um,
in the comics, it still doesn't make any sense. They would have to have had explained that to us.
yeah,
Because I
exactly. Well,
wouldn't,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
they wouldn't have made any sense to me. Oh well, it's
Mhm.
not a girl in the first place in the
Yeah.
comics, it's a guy. But
Yeah. I
not that
just
I
I.
care about that. It's just like,
Mhm. What
uh,
happened to me? What happened to me
but
in the movie? It was like an A plus B equals C thing. So I was like, the movie would slow down, and then I would be like, why is she mute? Like I would instantly think that, because is that not a rational question that you would have watching the movie? Like, yeah,
yeah.
it is. And then B would be, oh, well, she's mute because the actress is mute. And then I would be like, oh, like, so I would just automatically start thinking about she's an actress playing a character. And I was like, I don't want to think about that, right? Like you
Okay,
don't want to
okay.
you don't want to start thinking about the actors in the movie. You want to start thinking about the characters. And so it would pull me out of the movie. I wouldn't be as sub and so I actually ended up finding the movie boring at some parts because the pacing slowed down. I zoned out of the movie a couple times, like I'd say 2 or 3 times. I actually zoned out of the movie. My wife was like, "Are you not watching the movie?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like cuz the pacing just I got kind of bored like with it because it slowed it down so much for me. But anyways, now I'm gonna
It's
get a bunch
okay.
of hate
So
mail.
so 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 she is supposed to be a girl.
Hmm.
From what I'm looking at, she's supposed to be a girl, and she's supposed to be deaf. Sorry, mute. But she's also supposed to be deaf.
She's supposed to be deaf and mute.
Yeah, because she was. It
Okay,
says with the
well
death
there
of
you
the
go.
dreaming celestial Makari, now a woman. Oh well, she started off as a man, and then she transferred. Somehow became a woman. Um, spent all of her resources trying to somehow reach the dead celestial, but she was unsuccessful, losing her speech and hearing in the process. And this was in the comic book uh, 22. Yeah, Eternal Celestial #1. So she is supposed to be.
I don't think she's deaf in the movie.
No, I don't think she's deaf because people definitely talk to her, but they kind of
Without,
sign while they're talking, but they
yeah,
don't
but there
always
was
sign while she's in the room.
exactly,
So she must be able to hear.
yeah, I'm guessing so. Okay, well, I mean, if they did it for the character, that's great. It just didn't work on screen. It did not. Like it slowed it down a lot. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, no, yeah, I get you. I
also,
would just have like an explanation. That's all I would want. It was just like
yeah,
the
I mean,
reason why she can't talk. Why can't she talk?
and this could be another arbitrary question, but why is she speaking through sign language? Like American, like ASL, like American Sign Language. I mean, you could say the same thing about them speaking English,
Yeah,
but it just doesn't. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like
she's
it
a
doesn't.
billion years old, but she for somehow started ASL. Maybe I don't know. But
Maybe
also that guy can put things into people's mind. Does that mean he can read their minds? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't. There's a lot of unanswered questions. So
Well, Eternals 2 coming soon.
uh, I didn't. Did you want a sequel? Were you excited for a sequel? Were you
Not after, no,
excited
no,
for?
not after the movie was over. I was like, I hope that's it. I hope they're done with this because that was,
Really, you had the same thought as me?
yeah. I was like, that wasn't very good. That wasn't very good.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
I thought it was. I personally, if when I say lower tier, and this could be just me, I like both Thor movies better.
Oh wow.
I like Thor: The Dark World better than I enjoyed Eternals.
Oh wow, wow. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm not sure I can go. I don't think I can go that far.
When was the
Okay.
last time you
Thor: The
watched Thor:
Dark
The
World
Dark World?
last year.
No. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you watched all the movies. So
Yeah.
you thought it was that bad?
it was just so slow and brooding and dark. Oh
We should
gosh.
we should talk about like why we didn't or did like that movie.
Yeah, I like the first one definitely much better. I mean, but the third one still is my favorite because I just like that version of Thor because it was
Mm,
just a lot. It felt like a breath of fresh air. Like they were taking the actor and the character in a different direction.
mhm. I don't have a problem with the humor aspect of the character. I hate it when you turn it up to like 12.
Okay, yeah, I can agree
That's
with that.
that's
I do
more.
think there was some
Mhm.
times where it was like it just felt like the whole movie was a one big joke. I will agree with
Yeah,
that.
I didn't. That was more so my problem with that movie is like it was too much funny. And it didn't take itself very seriously either. So I didn't like that because I mean Thor it'd be like if you did that in a Captain America movie, it wouldn't fit, right? Because Captain America is a more serious character. And that's how
Yeah.
I felt about Thor. Is like he's a more serious character. In fact, he should be talking in old English all the time, which we don't need that. We don't need that. That's fine. I think it makes sense that he would develop more of a sense of humor because he's been to Earth,
Yeah.
and he would talk kind of like we do because he's been with the Avengers a lot.
Hmm.
So that makes sense to me. I'm just kind of like, why are you? Why is he cracking jokes all the time? I don't really like that. It's kind of like what our friend James said. Not everybody's supposed to be Tony Stark. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
everybody's supposed to be Tony Stark 24/7.
Shout out Big James.
Anyways,
Did you want
what
to talk
did
about
you
the
end
the
credits?
end credits real quick?
Yeah, yeah, man. Let's do it. So what did you think of the first one with Star Fox? Oh wait, we didn't even talk about the end of the movie.
Oh, well, we
Sorry, what
talked
did
about
you?
him going into the sun and her becoming a human and them deciding.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't.
they
I'm not.
they
I
have
wasn't
that
sure
face
that
to
was the right
face.
decision.
They have that face to face interaction with the Celestial.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting.
When he first appeared to Ajax, I said he looks like a bad guy. That was my
Yeah,
first thought, and I was like, why would anyone think that's a good guy? That looks like a bad guy. He like,
they I noticed that they tried really hard not to say that they're bad though.
yeah,
They tried to keep Celestials as like a neutral,
yeah, yeah.
which was interesting. And I did like learning about the Celestials a little bit more. Oh, I had one more thought. I'm sorry before we go to end credits. So, did you find that going back and forth between history and stuff frustrating?
Not super, only because, like I said, the history was my favorite part of the movie.
Mhm.
Like learning how they became and what they went through and all that kind of stuff
Mhm.
was some of the best parts of the movie for me. But
Mhm.
I can't see how someone else would be like, I hated that. It
Mhm.
was too confusing and it took too long, and
Mhm.
I would have traded spending more time with the characters than having the history be examined.
So
I could
this
see
is
someone saying that.
this is how I think the movie should have been changed. This is my and I have this idea like right, and I'd like to know what you think about it. Um, After I watched it, I told Adolin that kind of got a little frustrating because we were going back and forth a lot, and it made you feel like you weren't really close to the characters because as soon as you would kind of get to know a character, they'd switch to a different one or they'd switch to a different
It's
story.
like Titans, just like Titans. Trash show. Titans sucks. Titans aren't back. They suck. Sorry.
So do I need to bring that banner back up like right here like this one?
No,
Do I need
no,
to
no,
bring
no.
that back
Next
up?
next week,
Okay.
next week when you finish the series already, okay? It's trash anyway. It's a trash series. I don't know why you haven't finished it yet.
Why are you so angry? You're so angry about this show.
I was watching some some
Reactions.
some Titans, some people trashing
Uh,
the Titans show, and I was just like, I remember I hate this show so bad. I hate this show so bad. Sorry,
Dang. Okay. Anyways, let
I'm
me
sorry,
know
I'm
if you.
sorry, I'm sorry,
It's
I'm sorry.
fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Let me know what you think of this. I think what would have been better is if they would have had the beginning the same, right? Where they're present day, she's teaching a class on history, all this stuff. And then when they start the flashback, they stay in the flashback for most of the movie up until the point to where they are leaving uh to where they're doing separate ways, right?
Yeah,
To where they're actually doing separate ways. And then from there we follow each individual's path. So we follow Druig's path up until the point to where he becomes found. Then we follow Thena's path with Gilgamesh. Then we follow each character's kind of how they ended up where they are, instead of going back and seeing like this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, because I think that would have given you more of an appreciation of the character if you saw their story and how they interacted and made decisions. And then we go into the story of this is like this they're trying to figure out who killed Ajax, and they're trying to get the team back together. And I think that would have made more sense for most people. Um, and it I would imagine it'd probably be the same length, maybe a little bit longer, but I'd imagine it'd be the same length, and at least you feel connected to the characters. I mean, do you
Yeah,
think that would have worked or?
maybe. I can't really imagine it beyond what we saw. So
Mhm,
it probably could have. I mean, I could understand how getting all of that at once out the way can really
mhm,
set you up to be more invested in their future endeavors
mhm,
instead of kind of like flip flop, flip flop, flip flop, flip flop in the movie trying to. I don't know.
mhm,
I felt a lot of times felt like going into the past was them trying to give you reasons for why you should be connected to the characters in the present, and that's
mhm.
not usually how it's supposed to work. But maybe.
Yeah. Well, I kept whenever we'd go to the past, I kept wondering why are they so close?
Oh,
You know what
okay,
I
yeah,
mean? Because they kept starting out with they're all separated, and so I'd be like, well, why are they separated? And they kind of showed that, but I would have rather had this separate story. They could have been like, okay, we have to go find the Eternals and get everybody back together. Then they do the flashback of this is how we got to this point in the story where they're all separated. That would have been better than just going back and forth and trying to find everybody, because I didn't really feel like I grew with the character at all. I didn't really
yeah.
feel like I knew the character. So,
I can agree with
um,
that.
but
Can I just say that
anyways,
sex scene was kind of weird? I was like, what is
yeah,
this?
it's also not Marvel's first sex scene. They need to stop saying that. That was in Iron Man. What? Wait, your mic went out, bro.
It did?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, you're there. You're there. Were you just
Iron Man?
mouthing? Yeah, Iron Man.
Yeah, I was like Iron Man. I'm trying to think of the scene
Oh,
in
yeah.
Iron
It's
Man.
it's where he's with Miss Brown, and he's like, have you? She's like, have you lost very much? Have you lost? I'm sure you've lost many hours of sleep over that. And he was like, I'm prepared to lose a few with you. And then it shows them like making out and kissing, and they're on the bed together. And I've heard people say like there were people I saw an article before. They said it has Marvel's first sex scene, and I was like, what? I was like, that was an Iron Man. And then some people were like, well, they weren't having sex; they were making out like on a bed. And I was like, that's starting sex. Like that is a sex scene.
What do you
Like
think
you know
Tony
what
Stark's gonna do? Like he's gonna be like, "All right, ma'am, you're. I don't want to. We're
that
not
was that's
married
it.
or anything
And
like
they
that.
were
So
disrobing while they were kissing, and then
I
they
would
fall,
like you to leave, please.
yeah, then
Okay?
they fall out of bed, and then it goes to the next scene where
Things are
they
getting a
wake
little
up in the
steamy
morning.
here. All right. I just. I don't want any trouble.
What are you, Richard Nixon? What you
I
sound
don't
like.
know.
Anyways, okay. So I just wanted to get that out of the way because I wanted to. That was just a thought I had, and I thought the movie might have been improved that way. But let's talk about those end credit scenes. Um, what did you think of Star Fox with?
I wasn't super impressed with anything. Honestly, I was like, oh, I didn't know
Mhm,
who it was at first. I was like, oh, Thanos' brother. What?
yeah.
And I looked him up. I was like, Star Fox. Who was that?
Did you see
And
who was
then
playing him?
yeah, yeah, I don't remember his name though.
Harry Styles.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I looked it up
I
after the
thought that was
movie.
kind of weird.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
Uh,
hope not. I would like Thanos to come back though. I would really like Thanos to come back.
yeah, definitely. I
I just
think
don't
that
know
would
how
be
he's gonna come
interesting.
back. We think you're gonna get like a multiverse Thanos?
We could. That's kind of what I think. Honestly, I think we'll probably get a multiverse version of Thanos. I don't think they'd actually bring him back from the dead. It seems like they're trying to do this little. They don't really want to bring people back from the dead because they feel like people will call us out for cheating. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the multiverse and we're gonna bring people back that way. Like I feel like that's what they're doing.
I'm still mad
Um,
Iron Man's dead.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna miss Robert Downey Jr. That's what I'll miss.
Yes.
He added a lot to the. I don't know if it's gonna be the same because as much
Cool.
as I like Anthony Mackie and I just, it's just gonna be hard to see him as a leader. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Agreed.
So, um,
Agreed.
But anyways, I thought that was okay. Um, I wasn't super interested in all of that, but I would like more Thanos. So I was that's actually something I was hoping I was going to get in this movie, and we didn't get any of it. Was
Yeah, we got no
X?
Thanos explanation. I was
No.
like, wait a minute, he's a celestial or an eternal, right? He's is a
Yeah,
deformed eternal.
yeah.
I'm not
That's
sure.
what
Did
it
he
was.
ever say that though? Did they ever mention that in the movies?
No,
His
they didn't.
heritage?
They did not. But they say that he's from Titan. And they haven't. That's the whole thing is they haven't gone into his origins, which is really interesting because he was a very compelling villain without an origin story. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it was
yeah,
kind of like so people really wanted to know. A lot of people wanted to know his origin, and they were like, "Well, Eternals is coming up. That totally makes sense." So it looks like they'll do like an Eternals 2, or I was thinking Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We might get some of that. That's what I kind of see happening is we might get something along those lines.
well, if he's
But
related to Star Fox and Star Fox is an eternal, then I would have to make him an eternal.
yeah, yeah,
So
and I think
if
he
an
was.
eternal is going to come and wipe out half the universe, why wouldn't the celestials stop? Like, why wouldn't the celestials be like, "Hey, stop that guy"? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I thought the explanation at the beginning was so weak. I was so upset. I was like, that was so weak. It was a one word sentence, and she just walked away from it like it didn't happen. I was
Because
like,
they can't because it wasn't deviants.
oh my god.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew about that, so I was already accepted with it. I was like, I guess that's fine. Like that's fine. Like, because that's what they were created for. Um, is they were created to only stop deviants, which to their point, Jonathan, to their point,
Oh my god.
they did get punished or threatened when they did do something against the will of the Celestials.
I
So
don't care.
I'm not saying their argument's invalid. It's not
But look,
invalid.
if the celestials dude, if the celestial dude sent them to Earth to stop the deviants from killing the population so that they could harvest a celestial, wouldn't Thanos be like target number one? He's gonna wipe out half the universe. Like
I guess so.
that's literally the person you want to stop. He's one of
I,
you. You created him.
I
What?
that's
What?
that's not what the Celestials told them to do though. So I
Stupid.
mean, I'm not saying you don't have a point either, but
Big old idiot. Big old idiot.
that's basically what they said. So, um, yeah, I was hoping for more Thanos, and I'm hoping we get more. But I was listening to this podcast, and they said what's really weird. This guy's more of a comic book fan, and he said what's really weird is that they're introducing all these characters that are in Thanos's big stories. So like they're introducing all these characters that the reason they're important in the Marvel universe is because they're connected to Thanos, like Star Fox and that elf and the Eternals, like that. Like they're one of the main reasons they're interesting is because they're connected to Thanos.
Dang,
And
do we get a
and,
Thanos solo movie?
and so
That would be bomb. I would love a Thanos
I
solo
would
movie.
totally watch a Thanos solo movie, but that was his thing was like it's kind of weird that they would make like introduce all these characters, but we don't have Thanos. So he was like, "Is Thanos going to come in?" So I hope so. I would totally see a Thanos movie. I think it would actually do good too. I think
Yeah,
most people would want to watch it,
yeah.
um, especially if it connected somehow to the universe, or we got to see what. Even if it was like a flashback where we got to see what he was doing throughout phase 1, 2, and 3 of the
Yes,
Marvel
that's what I was about to
universe,
say. Like just a Thanos
that would
origin
be
story.
that would be super interesting to see how he got to the point to where he was ready to take over the world. That would be super interesting. Um,
Or like I would love to see the destruction of Titan. Like when he was like appealing to the council about like, hey, if we just kill half the people here, like were the people who agree with him, were the people who disagree with
mhm.
him? Was it even a debate, or were they just like, dude, you're crazy, get out of here? Like,
I bet he would have been like an outcast, and then
yeah,
then they would have come back to him
he
because
kind
they
of
didn't
sounds like Kylo's father.
a little bit, a little
That's what
bit,
I thought
yeah.
of when I heard that the first time. I was like, that sounds like Superman's dad.
You think
Well,
so? Why
I
did
guess
it
it'd be more
no,
like Zod. I guess it'd be more like Zod then.
I was gonna say I didn't think Cal's dad was. I thought Cal's dad said we should leave Krypton, and nobody wanted to leave.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well,
what it
it
was.
depends on what version of Superman we're talking about,
That's
and what
true.
version of Krypton we're talking about.
I haven't watched the Krypton sci-fi show like you, so I
I
couldn't
have
even.
not watched the Krypton side. Oh, I started. I did start it. It just
Oh, you started it? You didn't
I
finish
don't
it?
care for people's relatives. Honestly, I just unless they're a superhero, I really don't care for them. So like Pennyworth,
Mm.
You told me to watch that show, and I'm trying to get around to it, but I'm watching Batwoman right now.
Wow, that's a. I had to choose. You know, that woman's what I'd watch
I
for
don't, I
sure.
don't, I don't, I don't hate Batwoman. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I don't hate it. It's just like
Of
there's a
course.
lot of stuff you just kind of have to accept. Like this is just the way it's going to be, and I just need to be okay with it, or I shouldn't watch this show anymore.
Oh man. Well, okay. Let's talk about. I'm gonna move on from there. Let's talk about that last end credit scene. So, I found out something that makes the scene for me a little bit more interesting. To be honest, I know Black Knight is a lesser superhero. Like people don't know a lot about him. I'm actually kind of excited to see him um, because he's a grounded superhero that they're introducing. Because it kind of feels like in the Marvel universe, they're kind of like, there's only one way to go, and that's up, and that's the galaxy. And it's like, okay, cool. They're still introducing like these small time characters. Kind of gives me hope for like Daredevil and Luke Cage and all that stuff still, because I want to
Okay,
see them in the
like local,
movies.
like you mean like more like local heroes?
Yeah, like Black Knight he's a lesser known hero, but he's still street level. You know,
Yeah,
like just like Iron, he's about as street level as Iron Fist is. Like if you're
yeah.
gonna get down to it. So I was kind of excited to see that. I think that they picked a excellent actor to play the Black Knight. If you're gonna pick anybody, you pick Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. Like,
You
of
know nothing,
course.
Jon Snow. I was like,
like,
oh my
like,
gosh, he's about to become the king. Finally, he's going to be the king.
don't tell me.
Oh,
Don't
you're
tell
sorry,
me.
sorry, sorry, sorry,
I'm
sorry,
in
sorry. Yeah.
season 2, man.
Oh gosh.
Um, I'm watching Game of Thrones right now, which there's a lot of scene skipping. Uh, there's a lot of nudity, but anyways, so not fun on that part. But the story, man, the stories are so interesting. That's what
Yeah,
keeps
and the
coming back.
characters are so compelling. The
They
characters are
are,
so compelling.
they are.
I
They're
would
really
honestly go
interesting.
like if it wasn't for the for all the sex and nudity, I'll probably go back and watch it again because it was just such a
Yeah,
compelling story.
I had so many friends who watched it, and I was like, I really want to watch that show. So I was just like I gotta watch it. So, anyways, yeah. So I think they picked a great character. I was very interested. I found that from what I've read online, I was probably more interested in Black Knight than anybody else than every other people were. I mean, did you find that? Did you find that interesting at all, or were you kind of
No,
like, oh, cool?
I was kind of mad he was in the movie at all. I was just like, why is he in this movie? Like it was so annoying hearing
you're
him
not
like
the
calm
only.
out, and he
You're not the
wasn't the
only
main
person.
character. I was just
Yeah.
like no, like don't do this to John. Like of all people, Jon Snow cannot
Mhm.
be somebody who's like getting a backseat.
I
I'm
did find
sorry, you
that
just can't.
weird. So I guess in the comics, like Cersei and the Black Knight do have a relationship. That's like a big thing in the Eternals comics. Is they are a thing. So that's one reason why they put him in there. But I agree with you that it's kind of weird to bring him into an Eternals movie with that big of a name and him just kind of be a side character.
Yeah,
Which yeah, I agree with that.
it was
Um,
weird. Now and I was just annoyed every time I saw him. I was like, ugh, like just
mhm.
do something else with him. Like either make him a part of the movie or like don't have him in the movie. Like I don't want to see him anymore.
Because why? Because he's underused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just felt wrong. It felt wrong. It kind of
hmm
it felt oh god. I was just
It would have been more interesting for him to just have a cameo appearance
yeah
because he had too many scenes to be a cameo
yeah
was the problem. So he was in this weird limbo of like he's not a main character, but he's not really a side character, but he's not a cameo either. So he's just kind of like existing.
yeah. If it had just been him at the beginning and that was it for the movie, and then at the end
hmm
he like was like I gotta go save her, and then like opens
hmm
the thing. That would have been fine, but just
Yeah.
like the sprinkling him through the movie and she's calling him and stuff like that was
hmm
just like I don't know. I cringed. I
Or
just
if
was
or if
cringing.
he would have met her at the end or something.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, just
Yeah.
like, hi, I'm. You could have just done a name drop. You could have just done a name drop, and that's because he didn't really even need to be in the beginning of the movie, to be
Yeah.
honest. Um,
It's
but he
weird though
was,
that the end credit didn't make a whole lot of sense if you don't know deep comic lore,
yeah,
which
I
was the
would
weird
agree.
part about it because typically they're like if they're doing the end credit, it's to announce something big's happening in the Marvel universe, like Venom's
Hmm.
going to Spider-Man's world, or the
Hmm.
Avengers are getting together, or
Hmm.
this person's still alive, or something like that. Something
Hmm.
crazy is happening is for, and it's usually for like all fans, so like everyone knows. Oh snap!
Hmm.
But these last two were just like you if you didn't know deep comics, you wouldn't know what was happening. You'd be
Yeah.
very, very confused, which is why I was so like
Hmm.
I was so confused when I watched it because I was like I don't know who that is. Like when Star Fox came, I was like, who is Star Fox? I've never heard of this guy before. And then
Yeah.
when like the guy was touching the blade, I was like, who was he supposed to be? He's not Blade. Blade is black. Unless you're gonna swap Blade out with a white guy. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. Well, I'm excited for Black Knight because he sounds like an interesting character.
That's
I
fair.
think
That's
he.
fair. That's
I
fair.
when
I
I looked
just
up some information about, I had heard of him before. The same thing with Star Fox. I had heard of him, didn't know anything about Star Fox, and then
I
once
only
I
know one Star Fox, and he's definitely not a human.
he's a video game character, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's an actual fox.
Can you imagine? That would
And that's why for like a second I was like, no, no way.
like what? No, he's not in this. That's wrong universe. Wrong universe. Wrong universe. Pretty soon, Darth Vader comes out, and he's like, it's like, oh my gosh, what's happening? So Black Knight, I knew a little bit more about. I kind of forgot though. Like once I watched a video about it, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I know of him. I don't know much. Like I don't know storylines or anything, but I know of the character. Also because I've played Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 and he's in it, so so I played as him. But his blade apparently can cut through anything, which is kind of interesting. Like
Whoa.
I guess it can even cut through vibranium. So that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
But do you know who that voice was?
Blade, right?
Yeah, I looked
Ali
it up later.
Hashirama.
It's Blade. So I was super. Well, I found that out later. I actually found that out last night because I forgot to look it up. And I was like, oh snap, it's Blade. I was like, well, how does that connect? Like that's what I was wondering. So that's probably the only interesting thing about the two end credit scenes was that we got Blade's voice, and that's pretty low on the bar. For being honest, like what we heard? We heard Blade's voice. It's like you didn't even see him. No, no, but he's
No.
coming. He's coming. He's coming. And it's just kind of like, oh, okay. It's like that's great. Like I don't know. It was
You
all
nerds.
right.
You nerds get excited about anything.
I was just like that's kind of like when I saw it I was like that's kind of cool. Like we got Blade, I guess. Like I was like we didn't really get him. Like we didn't see him. Like we just heard his voice.
I'll
So
be honest,
it's
I'm
all
not super excited for a Blade movie. I haven't seen the first one, so that's probably why I'm not super excited, and I never connected with the character. I've read some of his comic books. I'm not a big vampire guy unless it's Twilight. But other than that, I'm not really a big vampire guy.
I'm
I didn't
sure
like
you're ready
Count
for
Dracula. I didn't like anything that's
yeah.
vampire-ish but Twilight. So
Yeah.
um, I'm not really excited
I'm
for a Blade movie. It's not like I'm like on the edge of my seat. I'll be probably more excited for like a Moon Knight movie or
mhm.
or it's a series, right? Moon
Yeah, the
Knight
Moon
series.
Knight series, yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably more excited for the Hawkeye series.
There's rumored that it's going to be kind of dark too. The Moon Knight
Ooh,
series. I'm hoping. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping
all
so.
dark, dressed in white. Let's go.
I am excited for the Moon Knight series, and I hope they do the character justice.
Are we
I'm a
gonna do
little
are we
concerned.
gonna get a KKK reference from from Sue?
So he's like some black dude in the hood being like, "Man, the last time I saw a white hood, like,
Stop! You ain't never seen a white hood before. From in a museum on the internet. Where you see the white hood at? Stop.
I." It's gonna be that dude from all the Marvel, like the Marvel Netflix shows. What's his name? He's the
Oh,
black
a
dude
Turk.
who's
Turk. I love Turk.
I do too. I keep pointing him out to my wife because we watched Daredevil last night. We were in Daredevil season 2, like the second half of it, where it got really interesting. So she got to watch the. I was proud of her. She actually watched the Punisher scene where he's in
Ooh,
prison, like all the
ooh,
way through.
gosh, with the
I
white
was,
suit, with the white jumpsuit
and
on.
he's
Oh my
got blood all
gosh,
over him. I was just like,
man.
she was like, so there was one part where he's, like it starts where
Yeah.
because I warned her. I said the scene has a lot of stabbing. Are you sure you want to watch it? And she was like, we'll see. I think I'll be okay. And he stabs the dude he's interrogating, right, for Wilson Fisk, and he stabs him. And then she didn't really look, and she was like, okay, was that the stabbing you were talking about? And then literally the next scene, he's like, stab, 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 stab. And I was like, no, that was it. And then he's just like literally like he's poking someone's eye out and all this stuff, and I was just like, it's
Man,
crazy.
the first time watching that show, wow, that show was so good.
Yeah, I know.
I
It's
remember just
it's.
watching that scene. I was
I
like,
mean,
"What?" And he was
it's
just
still
like, "Gah, gah, 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 gah."
yeah. It still holds up on the rewatch. I'll admit.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not as
absolutely. It's just
not as
that
good as
first
the
time.
first time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's not
first
as
time
good as
because
the first time.
I had never seen anything like that before in my entire life. Like a
Ex-
Marvel superhero show with
Especially a
that much
superhero
death.
show. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just like, and it felt so authentic to the character, which was so
yeah.
surprising as
It
well.
did. It did. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. It's crazy.
There's just so many moments in that show where I was just like, this is what I imagined Hell's Kitchen would be like. This is exactly what I imagined it was like. When I was reading the comic books as a kid, I was like, this place is like the grimiest of the dirtiest of the. It's all like dark everywhere. There's
Yeah.
shadows everywhere. There's no lights. Nothing works. It's just trash
Mhm.
all on the streets.
Yeah. Well, they did a great job with John Bernthal. Did an amazing job with the Punisher.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want him in the movies. Like, I really hope. I know it's not going to be as dark as that show, but just he would make it like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I
let's
mean,
see. Let's see how the new Daredevil movie goes. Not Daredevil.
Spider Man.
Deadpool.
Oh,
Deadpool
Deadpool.
movie. Because that's gonna be their first rated R movie, right?
Yeah, that's what they said.
So
Yeah,
let's see how that one goes. Maybe they get enticed by that R-rated money.
they might. They might. I mean, it's just certain characters. It's almost like an injustice not to do
Yeah, like
Dark Knight.
Carnage. Like Carnage. Okay, you can't make an R. You can't make a PG-13 Carnage. It doesn't
Yeah,
work.
I
The
agree.
movie
Well,
falls flat.
it that it they tried their best for a PG-13 Carnage, and it wasn't that great. But there were more problems with that movie than just Carnage. We
Oh,
talked about
absolutely,
that. Yeah,
absolutely,
there were more
absolutely,
problems with it.
absolutely.
But there's this like Moon Knight. Moon Knight's gonna be tough to do PG-13. You have to go like a hard PG-13 if you're going to do it. And then the same thing with Daredevil can kind of live in both spaces. He can kind of go R and he can kind of go PG-13.
Yeah.
But like Punisher, you have to do like a hard. I mean, you can't really do PG-13. I mean, he's not a cracking jokes kind of guy. Like he's not that
Yeah.
guy at all. But
More
we
like a
were
cracking
watching.
skulls.
Yeah, basically. But we watched Adolin and I watched, we're almost done with season 2, and we watched so we got to see King, so she got to see the whole King, you're kind of wondering why Punisher's going to prison, and then he meets Kingpin, which was a huge reveal. I remember I went crazy when I saw that. I was like, "What? Kingpin's in season 2?" And so she saw that and she was like, "What? Kingpin? Oh my gosh." Like she was like, I can't like no, no. She was like, "No, not him." And then like we saw in like the next 2 episodes, I think we saw the episode where Matt goes to see, I don't know if you remember season 2 very well, but Matt goes to see him, and Matt threatens, like, he threatens Kingpin with like, I won't allow you to see Vanessa again because I'll take away her visa. And then he like picks him up and like slams him on the table and was
Yeah.
like basically like, don't threaten me. Like, yeah.
He's
And
like,
he like
you gotta box your stance or something like that. Something
yeah,
about
he
being
was
a
like,
boxer.
oh, that's right, the son of a boxer. And he's like, and then
I was actually
and
a very good Kingpin.
oh, well, I actually did a Kingpin voice, and Adolin was like, what is funny? I have one, but I'm scared to do it on camera. So
What's his name? D'Onofrio?
Vincent D'Onofrio. D'Onofrio.
Okay.
Mhm. So, but I just remembered. I was like, that's why he's the best Marvel villain. I was like, that's why he's like. I think he rivals Thanos. I think he is one of the
Dang.
best. I do. I think he's one of the best Marvel villains, and he was very, very underused in the entire universe. But I mean, come on, he has such a presence about him. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
has such
I,
on paper, like in the comics, is he? No, but in the movies, I would think so.
we should do a top 10 list for Marvel villains, because I'm not sure I have Thanos number one, and I'm not sure Kingpin would be number one either. I really like the Black Panther villain, but maybe that's just because I'm black.
Oh, you talking about? I thought he was okay. I didn't like him as much as other people did.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. It's 'cause
Which I'm not.
You're not one of the peoples, man. You're not with the tribe, okay?
I'm not woke enough. Is that what you're saying?
Wakanda, forever.
You ever been to Wakanda?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I have. I've been there.
No,
I have.
you haven't.
Yeah,
No,
it's
you
imaginary. Anybody can go there. I'm just kidding.
No, you just don't have your Wakanda card. That's what's the problem. You've never had your
Wakanda card.
your Wakanda visa.
Mhm.
That's why you've never been there. It's
No,
okay.
mine's like a German utopia. So. Just kidding. It's horrible.
I think what you meant to say was 1945.
That's horrible. Oh my gosh.
All right.
Yeah. We should probably wrap it up. We should
Yes,
probably wrap
sir.
it up. So, but anyways, well, that was fun. It was a good conversation, good talk. Let us know if you guys have any. If you're watching this later, if you're watching it live, let us know what you think of any topics. If you guys have any topics you'd like us to talk about, we are always checking comments and things like that. But
Yep.
feel free to check us out next time. This was
Tell us what you think about the Eternals movie. If you think we're wrong and that was the basest movie you've ever seen, you're an idiot. And you probably shouldn't comment on our videos. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Let us know. Let us know. We won't shame you. We won't shame you. We won't pin your comment.
I've seen a lot of fans who are like, I don't care what people say, that was a great movie, which
That's fair. You're not a bad person if you think it's a good movie. You maybe not as intelligent as the rest of us.
Again, I thought, in my opinion, I think I like Thor: The Dark World better, but I've always liked Thor, so I'm kind of biased. I'm biased in that. And I
have no biases because I don't have any characters in Marvel that I really like that.
Oh, Jonathan, he's biased. He just doesn't know it. Anyways. Oh, well, I'm about to sneeze, so we're gonna sign off. So I will talk to you guys later, and we'll see you next week.
Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. If you want to share, you can do that too, because that helps out with getting more eyes on our channel. And we, by the grace of God, will have clips this week.
I mean, if not, it's all right. You guys will be fine. You just scroll away. Anyways, all right. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.